Three. We're on the air. Welcome to the interwebs,
Sweet.
everyone. So, first of all, I would like to apologize for the delay. Apparently, there's a giant fucking tropical storm from hell in Alabama that knocked out my internet connection.
Yep.
And I slept 16 hours with Tyler after Adventures in Game Development Chapter 27, so we didn't know that shit was fucked until after we woke up. Apologies.
Sleeping with Tyler? Damn, Slimmy.
Not as. Don't go there. Anyway,
Hey, don't judge. Don't judge.
yes, we're at my
I'm endorsing.
All right, hold on. Everyone, open up your Q&A apps so like we can start.
already turned it on for the stream.
Okay, yeah, me too.
Do we have like Q&A app? What is this mystical technology and how do I use
You
it?
didn't know that?
Yeah, on the left-hand side of
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh shit! All right, everyone, get your name tags up too. Sorry guys, we are ill prepared.
I've been doing normal maps in like for past 3 hours. What do you expect?
How do you add a Hangout toolbox? Is that it, right?
It looks like it, yeah. Except
Hangout toolbox.
I'm so tempted to just like write lead fucking artist. What would be mean?
Thought I had the logos for our shit on here, but I guess I do
I
not.
don't even see it though. We will start taking questions very shortly.
There's only I saw one question.
Yeah, there's one question so far. So, whoever you are, bro, it's in the queue. We've already seen it.
so what's this comment tracker thing? X sources.
You can see
not that one,
on the
not that
side you have Q&A.
Up. The viewer count is drastically fucking increasing. So let's like.
Well, thank God it's not drastically plummeting.
Do what?
Plummeting, you know, like going down.
Oh, custom overlay.
English, Falco, do you speak it?
I don't speak whatever the fuck you're speaking, because that's not English. Alright, whatever. I don't even care. If you don't know who I am, then whatever. I'm just some random guy in the hangout. Alright, let us begin with questions.
I don't know.
So yeah, we have. Oh shit, yeah, there's a lot of questions already. Okay, yeah, we have the Q&A app up, so let's begin. First question: what text editor do you use for Lua? Tyler, I think I'll let you answer.
Yeah, Sublime Text 2, if I can help it. I've used to use like Notepad++, but Sublime Text is way better.
We used to use Text Wrangler too, didn't we? But yeah,
Or like BB Edit on Mac, but Sublime Text works on Mac and Windows, so it's a lot easier for me to have the same thing on both.
Right. All right. I hope that answered your question, brother. Next. What the fuck is this question? From 2012 to 2014, your voice changed a lot, Falco. Why is this? I just noticed this while I was watching some older Aegid videos. Well, first of all, I was already a late bloomer, so maybe I was finishing up my pubescent years. Not quite positive. But along that same vein, I actually did have a pretty significant surgery. I had a tonsillectomy and an adenoidectomy. And my tonsils were like fucking huge, like so big. They're like, dude, these need to come out. So I'm pretty sure that having those surgically removed actually like lowered my voice a few octaves. And it also like, you know, totally makes my singing voice resonate quite a bit better too. So
Dude,
recommend that surgery.
If this actually did, then I have to undergo the surgery because my God, I'm pissed off at my girly voice.
Dude, I had a really bad sleep apnea, and basically like I couldn't sleep without like choking on my fucking tonsils and not breathing. So.
No, that's like no problem for me. Just.
All right.
Pass out.
And says you can't join for some reason.
Hey guys, how does it feel to pass the 100K mark? It feels
amazing.
Yeah, it feels fucking amazing. First of all, like it's fucking exhausting because we put out the video and all that stuff to pass that mark to begin with, and like we just now woke up. Like, you know, things were slowing down over the weekend because of Gamescom and like a few other factors like that. That really, it wasn't even just us. It really fucked over like the entire Kickstarter economy.
Yeah.
And you know this in your mind, but you're still freaking out, like, oh fuck, why are we slowing down? You know. So you know, I think we were all like on the edge of our chairs, like hoping it picked up yesterday, which it did. So yeah, now yeah, what's up?
I mean, I still like about the 100k mark. I still even haven't registered it, like mentally. I mean, I understand it on logical level, but I just have like void, no feelings whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't
Because
know
like,
if you know, bro,
It
but
seems
that's a
surreal.
shitload of money.
yeah, yeah, it's like it's a lot of fucking money. As a matter of fact, like that amount of money would be enough for me to the rest of my life in couple of countries. Like,
That's a lot of cocaine and hookers.
yeah, so like, it's like it
At least
doesn't.
a week's
I'm
worth.
just
I
kidding. Don't submit comments bitching me that.
I don't compute here.
No, it's awesome, and like along those same vines, dude. Sorry, I haven't slept. We have a whole bunch of big shit in the works. On Monday, like basically we're declaring war on like the gaming press. Not war because like we like them, we're on their team, but like we have a whole bunch of shit in the works. We're doing like I mentioned in the live stream, we're gonna be on the local news on Monday in
tomorrow.
Huntsville, Alabama. Like these crazy kids in the backwoods are making a Dreamcast game, and they raised over $100,000. It's gonna be fucking awesome.
Speaking of PR offensive, like even as we're live streaming right now, I'm working on the entirely normal mapped level, so we can have like some really fucking cool shit to show up. And I believe Leandro's finishing his animation. If he's not working, they're gonna slap his bitch out. He should be working.
Damn.
Yeah, all right, sweet. Multitasking for the win. Good
The
job, mate.
hostility.
You'll have to forgive
Yeah.
me for not working, but like I feel like the fans deserve my undivided attention, so like that's my excuse.
I mean, yeah, good thing about art, you can do it with like, whatever. But
So what
that's
you're
gonna
saying is doing art only requires half a brain and half your attention.
yeah, pretty much.
Well, shit. All
Still
right.
requires time.
Oh shit.
Still requires
okay.
time.
Hey,
But
Dan. All right. Next question. Sorry, we're getting. This is a very.
Opinions on SDL.
That's a very highly voted question. I think highly of SDL. We were actually using SDL in libgyro up until very recently. Eddie swapped us out to something I don't even know what the fuck it is now. But
what is SDL?
it's a simple direct media layer. It's like a multimedia library written in C for basically like developing games and stuff in 2D. And now actually like it is hardware accelerated. No, it's a very solid library. It was the first library I ever learned. Like after I was developing on the Dreamcast. When I moved over to the PC, SDL was the first thing that I picked up. So 10 out of 10 would fuck. It's a good library.
I don't know what your opinion on SFML is, but I used it and I really liked it.
Yeah, that's another good one. But like SFML is C++, and I was a C kind of guy at first, so it's more like language, I would say, for which one you want to get into.
If you just need to get an OpenGL window up and some input though, GLFW is definitely
That's what it was. Yeah, that's right.
lighter and easier to use. So.
Right. All right. Next.
What programming books would you recommend for learning C++ after having already read Sam's Teach Yourself C++ in 21 days?
None. If you've already read Sam's Teach Yourself C++ in 21 days, congratulations. I own that fucking book, and I've never read it all the way through. If you actually read that book all the way through, then you know fucking C++. You should be working on a project or basically applying what you know and learning into problems like that and returning to C++ books as references. You're not going to become a professional coder just reading books. I know plenty of people who do that all day, and they can't code for shit. You learn by doing. I mean, that's human nature, and especially in this industry, it's engineering. You have to apply what you learn to really soak it all up. So my advice is, there is no book that you should really read now to do that. You should delve into a project yourself and learn as you go.
That's entirely of game dev, essentially. You make shit, and you just make shit as you go. And the advantage of it is that you can also build up a portfolio of different stuff, projects and stuff like that. So it's a handy reference when you look for a job later.
Right. Oh, we're up to 40 viewers and climbing rapidly. Okay. Are you planning to do a tour in Europe to visit some game dev conventions to market your game? Yeah, it's funny you say that.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Gamescom?
Yeah, absolutely. The problem is, so like we're getting pretty big, and we're getting invited to all these conventions, and we were actually invited to Gamescom. The problem is we're just big enough to where they'll pay our admission in America, But I don't know that we're big enough that people will fly us out to fucking Europe and pay for our room yet. And obviously we don't have money until the Kickstarter's done. So probably after this Kickstarter, like when you make 150K making a fucking Dreamcast game, that's a pretty big deal. So probably after that, people will totally pay like our tickets to come to these conventions. Until then, probably our touring will be limited to America, except for unless Dan and the guys in Europe can attend. But absolutely, like it all comes down to, dude, like if they'll pay for our rooming and everything, like there's nowhere we wouldn't fucking go. I'll fucking promote Elysian Shadows in Antarctica. Sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah, sounds fun to me.
I want to go rumble with penguins.
Oh wait, hang on, we got a very important question here.
By the way, Brian, if you're watching this stream, dude, this coffee is phenomenal.
Jesus.
He busted out the French press for us when we walked in the door. So Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross?
Damn, dude. Okay, I love fucking both of them. I love both of them like so much, but I'm gonna have to say Trigger. I might even like the soundtrack to Cross better. I listen to that soundtrack so much, it's amazing. But I think Chrono Trigger has more of the feels, and like I don't know, there's so many characters in Chrono Cross that I feel like that really diluted the storyline a little bit. Because in Trigger you only have like a handful of characters with very well-developed personalities and stories. In Chrono Cross, they tried to include so many fucking characters, like 40 or something.
Yeah, it loses.
And, yeah, they're all very shallow and superfluous in like their personality and shit, and I feel like that's why. Sup, Holmes? I feel like that's why Trigger has more of the feels.
Let's see. Someone said, could you go into some of the details of the VMU side of things? I'm very curious about how KOS fits into the picture. Do test deployments happen over the LAN? Is it programmable with C++, etc., etc.?
The VMU?
Yeah.
All right. So, like, I don't know how much you guys know about VMU development, but so, for example, when you're developing for the VMU, when it's different when it's plugged into your controller and it's connected to the Dreamcast versus a standalone mini game. When it's hooked up to your fucking Dreamcast, then basically all you're doing is you're basically saying turn this pixel on, and the brains are pretty much happening on the CPU side on the Dreamcast. You know, you're just basically using it as a second screen to display information through KOS, which is pretty trivial in that sense. But to actually like extract the VMU and have a standalone minigame, that's not even KOS. Like that is straight to the metal Z80 assembly. You're developing to the hardware. You know, it's like a standalone thing. So for us, like I was saying, and like getting like tweets out the ass. What we wanted to do with this minigame was it's the Monster Tamer minigame, to where you can train monsters on your VMU. And what we were going to do for the mobile devices is we were going to actually emulate the VMU hardware so that the source code for the iPhone or Android is literally the exact same one as the VMU itself, and you're getting like the authentic Dreamcast experience there. And we're also able to reduce development time by doing it.
Yeah, that way we don't have to make two separate games, and it's kind of nice because I don't even know if there is a VMU emulator out there right now. I mean, someone else could use our emulator too.
Not on iOS that I know of. Ooh, I don't like this question. I know about the substance abuse from AIGID. How the hell do you guys stay up for days at a time? What substances do you abuse? I can't produce anything intelligent ever.
Oh goodness.
I don't want to like. I don't.
Plead the fifth?
I don't know what you're talking about. No, I don't know how to answer this. Well, let's just say that Dan is narcoleptic and he has he has a script for modafinil. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Oh, and Tyler's attention deficit, and he has a script for that, but I'm not saying anything other than that. You'll have to talk to our lawyers. I already have a warrant out for my arrest, bro. I can't elaborate.
Basically, I'm the only sane and normal person on this team.
Oh, right.
That's a stretch. Come on.
So, like, Patrick's the one that's, like, doing pixel art drunk as shit to, like, kill the anxiety here, and he's like...
Dude, I barely remember anything from Kickstarter preparation.
Right. All right, next question that's less incriminating. What do you think of engines like Unity or Unreal 4 for indies? You know, I think, like, I don't know if it's the arrogance of my youth or, like, just people picking it up. Like, there seems to be this belief that like we're against using pre-built engines, and maybe I used to be because I did used to be an arrogant sack of shit. Not that I'm not still, but you know, actually, the Elysian Shadows engine was modeled after Unity 3D. I used to pay my bills as at a startup game development company, coding with the Unity engine, and actually, like I truly believe like it's a very powerful engine, and especially the way they architected the whole game object component paradigm with like behaviors and stuff. That's really what we tried to mimic with our own engine, you know, because I believe that design pattern and that software architecture is like pretty fucking beautiful. So, you know, it really depends on what you want to do. Like, I have an unhealthy obsession with computer engineering, and I want to write every fucking line of code myself, and I want to know what all the bits are doing and what every fucking transistor is doing on my Dreamcast, you know, so I write everything myself. But, you know, if you're more worried about making just a fucking game and getting it out there, then by all means, I would say go for like a pre-built engine like Unity, because it's cool. It really is. It's just not cool as the Elysian Shadows engine. So go for it, man.
Seeing how people have different time zones and work remotely, how do you handle tasks, meetings, communications, etc. inside the team? Welcome to our development process right now.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really need much meetings, do we?
I mean, we get together every so often. Like, if there is something important happening, I mean, we're always in Skype 24/7, so we got a couple different like groups going on that we're talking to people
Always,
and like. I mean, it's just a matter of jumping in there and like, hey, who's here, and going from there. You know, if we need to have like, say, a Wednesday meeting or something, you know, we all just get together and jump in Google Hangout or Skype call. I mean, we got our own private development forums that we all talk on too. So
right, and another thing you have to remember is like Tyler and I don't have real jobs because we quit our jobs and put everything on the line for this project.
A real job.
But like,
Hey, neither do I.
So we have no real coherent sleep schedule. We just basically like wake up and work until we literally pass the fuck out from exhaustion, then sleep.
What is a sleep schedule?
So like, you know, corresponding with the remote guys doesn't even matter because we can just be on their sleep schedule. It's not really a big deal. So, and we don't have real friends either outside of these guys. Like, we gave up our social lives. So, you know, I talk to them more than I talk to anyone else. So, you know.
Yeah, in short, Skype and forum, and no social life.
All right, Falco, how is the dynamic audio fading going? Last I heard, fade out, fade in was implemented, but cross fading was taking more time to work due to some roadblocks. God damn it! How about you be an astute observer? I actually had to sweep that aside and move on. Like, it's something I need to revisit. It's not fully working yet, I know, but I have a whole bunch of ideas like in the back of my mind for how to implement that. Some of the stuff I mentioned, which was basically like sample the actual fucking audio driver and keep track of like how many milliseconds have gone by since the last buffer read to know exactly how far into the audio segment you are. So that's I'm gonna have to work on that a little later. Basically, it wasn't like game changing, and we had so much shit to do for the Kickstarter that like I had to put it down for now.
Somebody asked if Elysian Shadows goes to Steam, will it have achievements?
Absolutely.
In fact, it'll have achievements for the Dreamcast too. So
yeah,
look out for that.
Basically, achievements, like if I'm doing it like on Steam, it will be a cross-platform thing, and there will be achievements on every platform.
Yes.
What was the biggest challenge you faced when making the engine and toolkit cross-platform? Oh. I don't know that this is directly answering that question, but the biggest challenge actually was sharing code between the engine and the toolkit. Like, for example, the way we're rendering sprites and doing like the depth buffer for adding depth to a 2D scene, like, basically, there was no real way to do that in Qt or no good way with their architecture. So I had to create like this entire layer of abstraction to literally share the renderer code between the engine and the toolkit, and that was kind of a pain in the ass. So like I would say like that's the hardest thing, and especially now. We want to be able to set and modify dynamic lights within Qt, within the toolkit, and then have it work in the engine, you know? So like that renderer and all of that OpenGL, like really complex shading backend, the entire lighting engine has to be present within within the toolkit. So actually, believe it or not, that's truly the biggest challenge, I think. I don't think that, like, getting it on the Dreamcast or any of that, 'cause it's really what I do for a living, is work with hardware like that. I don't think it was that big of a challenge.
Yeah, I'd say that honestly, it's harder to make something that isn't cross-platform. Like, because there's just so many options. Like Qt for GUI apps, or like OpenGL if you're doing something in 3D or 2D or whatever. I mean, it's just easier to use those tools, and then they already run everywhere. And
Oh, really? What about the fact that OpenGL is not running on the Dreamcast, and that's a custom? It's a custom.
oh well,
video
like
drive.
I said, well, like with exceptions, like if on some cases there would be like a small abstraction layer needed, but really it's not difficult at all to go across. Well, it's
Not even a
work.
small abstraction, dude. There's like assembly code for submitting primitives to the
Okay, the
to
Dreamcast
GPU
is
on the
completely
Dreamcast.
different.
I'm just saying, bro.
Different,
You're
but
you're belittling my work there.
no, hey, you do awesome work. I'm just saying, like from like a
In front of the
more
whole internet.
from like a
Falco, don't you know
PC
how?
standpoint.
Falco, don't you know how it is? It's like every job that you didn't do is actually easy one.
You guys have talked a lot about your influences from video games. What, if any, are your influences from other things like books, movies, TV shows, music?
That's a really cool question. I like that.
Don't get me started.
There's a whole shit ton, because we're not just gamers. I'd like to think that we're fairly well versed in the entire like nerd scene. Like, for example, Tyler and I every night, like during this Kickstarter,
X-Files.
we've been watching the X-Files every night, and that's probably why we're so fucked up. And
Probably why I haven't been sleeping well. Freaking crazy ass dreams.
I
from
know.
this shit.
We're in love with that show, and like we fall in love with shows and books just everywhere. Like even fucking Harry Potter, like
You can kind of see, like,
Connor
have
loves
tons of
Harry
books.
Potter, and every time we find something
pretty
like that, we want to work like some kind of influences into the game. So like X-Files is one, and especially with
like House.
X-Files, I especially want to say, like, my favorite fucking part now is like the sexual tension between Scully and Mulder. Like, I've never wanted to see two people sleep together more in my entire life. I'll just go ahead and say that. The shit is delicious.
Like that
I
show
bet there is some
changed really
porn there that
hardcore
will
and like randomly
satisfy
one
your
episode.
needs.
Right.
No,
Another one. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say like House was a big one. Like,
Dude,
really enjoyed House.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen House MD. Like, the whole concept of like this.
It's really like Sherlock Holmes. I mean, it's based off.
Yeah,
of
Sherlock Holmes.
Like, I mean,
too,
the whole.
like this troubled, like decadent, fucking mad scientist complex thing. I think like everyone on this team has, because we all have fucking issues and we're all good at what we do. Like that's really influenced a lot of characters in ES, and there's one character in ES specifically that was very highly influenced by Dr. House for me, because that show the show meant a lot to me. And there's like little pieces like that. I don't know. Do you guys want to like talk about your own specific ones?
Like I loved like a bunch of older movies too, like Blade Runner and things like that. Like the really sci-fi noir, like steampunky kind of stuff like that. I'm really heavily influenced like was it like Fifth Element, things like that too. So like I really want to kind of bring like that element. And there, I know Final Fantasy does that a little bit with like some of their technology, like the airboats and things like that. But I kind of want to bring like the more technologically advanced side of that out.
I'm gonna put discussion into a completely different angle. Like, I'm huge anime fan. Like, I really enjoy animation. I have like gigabytes and gigabytes of backup because I just like looking and revisioning every now and then, remembering important things and stuff like that. But also just hard sciences. Like, I base a lot of my designs on our current understanding, the top understanding of physics, chemistry, and cosmology and everything that we have. Like, I'm on top with current research in the different fields, and I'm incorporating as much as possible of it into our actual lore. So, and also obviously like history. Like, I've been, like, to begin with, my background as a gamer is basically tabletop, and it's really interesting because it's tabletop that I made myself with my friends, because we didn't have money to buy actual D&D books because they were fucking expensive in Poland. So we were making our own systems. Like, I started gaming by making my own video game. I mean, not video games, tabletop games. So, I started by making lore and, writing the history of the world And I got really fixated about creating words and creating backstory, because if you have like lots of source material to work with, then it's a lot easier to create a story if you have like history of the countries and history of stuff like that. So that's something that I'm really pushing in ES, to actually build a ton of useless data.
No, and what you said, that's like a really interesting point. I'm actually the same way too. Like, one of my favorite things to do to like fucking calm down for the day is like I read Scientific American magazine like fucking religiously. Like, that shit is my crack. Like, I'm very up to date with like the scientific community, even if I'm a computer programmer and engineer, but like I'm very much like up to date with biotech and things like that. And especially like our storyline I was mentioning, it's influenced by like the dilemmas of our modern society and advances in like stem cell research and stuff like that. So
I worked
there
for
is
4
a lot
years at a biotechnology research facility, so I would like to think that it's slightly influenced some of our science stuff.
There's a lot of scientific
We
influence.
have entire dungeon that's basically bioengineering, right?
At least, yeah.
There's more than one.
There's more than one, yeah. So
I don't know.
There's something I'm working on.
That's a huge influence because we're a bunch of nerdy motherfuckers.
I don't know if you guys ever watched this movie, but the soundtrack was by Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, and I didn't like the second and third book that much, but the American Girl to Dragon tattoo is really good. That's a huge, like...
I saw the video, and like, that shit was disturbing, dude. Wasn't there like a rape scene in there?
People were pissed when they got the DVDs because they thought they were like illegally downloaded and like distributed, because the actual DVD, when people bought it, was just like a burnt DVD with like the handwritten label on it. They're like, yeah.
But like, just like the mood of that, because it's like, that is, you could almost argue it's like really creepy and horror, but it's not a horror movie. It's got that total, like, you're sitting there and you're just like, fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna take the next question because we got.
Dude, why did you change the question? Questionable board games. What the fuck?
I grabbed that. I grabbed that.
Oh, okay, all right, then go. Like, we got like 84 people in here. We got to keep rolling.
What are your opinions on board games, and have you looked into recent resurgence in designer board game design for inspiration? Yes. I'm a huge board game fan. Like, I love D&D, like War Machine, which also War Machine got Kickstarted. They made a War Machine Tactics game. A lot of those mechanics and stuff like that, like, people don't realize, like, like World of Warcraft, for example, drew huge inspirations from D&D and things like that. Dark Age of Camelot was the same way. I mean, almost any modern big RPG that way got influence from like Dungeons and Dragons and older board games. So it's always really good to look back at like either the rules or the mechanics of things like that when you're trying to make like either live action or turn-based RPG.
Yeah, generally board games, like even not specifically tabletop as in pen and paper RPGs, but also like, geez, I'm blanking out on the names, but there are just so many really cool ones.
Tons.
Yeah, like, yeah, go ahead. Because I just, for the love, Tickets to Ride, one of my favorite ones, but I have images of the board games that I really like, and I cannot remember the name for the level.
I'm always fascinated by that, because I think like board games, and especially like older 2D games for like Super Nintendo and NES, like, they really had to have like an extra level of like imagination, because they couldn't represent graphically the story. Like today, a lot of games are able to just completely fucking rely on graphics, because we're to the point where like it's easy to render like super photorealistic shit. But like back then, like it had to be very story driven. Like it had to have like a lot of imagination to entice players. Like that's why like I really like to take cues from older games like that, because they had less shit to work with. So, like, in return, a lot of those older games and like board games have a lot of substance, whereas a lot of newer games are very like superficial and graphically oriented. Yeah. All right.
And 500,000 DLCs.
Next question: best programming language in your opinion? Assembly. I'm just kidding.
Java.
Starts with a C and ends with a buffer overflow.
I would say C or C++ personally.
Yeah.
Like, I use both of them like fucking out the ass.
Right.
Like,
I'm gonna be controversial.
Depends what you're writing for too. I mean,
I'm gonna be controversial. Just say the one that's most adequate for the job that you want to.
oh my God, kick this fool out. Like, that is such a stereotypical response.
Yeah, but it's the best one. That's why it's the stereotypical one. Because there is no perfect programming language. Just like there is no perfect art style.
Yeah, but I think like that's a half-assed response, because I think that yes, there's a trade-off between like the amount of fucking like difficulty to master the language, like the amount of platforms it supports and all that shit. But I think that like if you look at all those factors together as an aggregate, you can still objectively say like this language sure is better than this one. I feel like,
Yeah,
or
but
maybe
then
it's
again, you
maybe
have
it's
to
because I'm opinionated as shit, but like
yeah. I mean, then again, you have to factor the development cost, the development time, and stuff like that. Like, you don't have infinite time to develop something. Like, we're living in real world as well. So.
right. Okay. Next question.
I know there were huge gaps of time between chapters, like between chapters 17 and 18 and so on. What brought you back to working on ES more than ever?
I really like that question because, like, I wondered how many people caught on. Yes, there was a big gap between 16 and 17, and then a huge gap between, like, 17 and 18 and now. And, like, just a lot of shit happened in our lives. Like, for example, when we used to make like adventures in game development in the beginning, it was we never anticipated it catching on or growing big. It was just like, hey, we recorded ourselves. It was going to be like unlockable content in the game, like a developer diary. It wasn't going to be
inspired by God of War.
It wasn't going to be a fucking YouTube series. That was all accidental, and we weren't really prepared for that. And I think like slowly, especially for me, because I've got fucking issues, like. Instead of focusing on like the game and stuff, like the videos became more a way for me to like prove myself to the fucking internet and to the world that like I was a good engineer. Like I was insecure about like my code especially, and like I had to like prove to the internet, and that's really what the videos became about.
We kept raising the bar too, because if you look at like the highly produced versions, like I think it was 19, 20, and 21, like after that big break, we came back and we really felt that without putting like a lot of time into the production part of the video, that we would be really kind of cutting our fans short. We really wanted to give them something that was like worth the wait and all of that. But like at one point, we have to put on like this hat for production versus like the hat for programming, and like there's a balance in that. And we very quickly decided either we're going to make a game or we're going to make a YouTube series. One of the two is going to dominate.
Yeah, and so
like we had to make the game, and that's when we started going back to like the more raw format of just kind of recording, simple editing, cutting out some of the bullshit parts or leaving those in, and then just uploading it to where like our fans appreciate that more.
Along those same lines though, like we really started making the videos, I think, for the wrong reason around like chapter 17 and 18. It wasn't fun for us. It was a pain in the
No, it was
ass.
A giant
I hated recording those videos. Like I was unhappy. It was a fucking chore for us. And like with chapter 21, like we literally were like, dude, we stopped ourselves. Like
it was killing us.
You're giving too much of a fuck about the video. Just pick up the fucking camera and record. And like it became fun for me again. It wasn't about like proving myself. Like I know I'm good as a developer now. I'm in graduate school. I don't need to prove myself to the fucking internet. And now we're doing it because it's fun and because we want to share our work with you guys. And like I feel like chapter 21 was a big turning point for us because that's when we started doing it for the right reason again, and that's when like it became fun again for us to do it, like it used to be when we were kids doing like chapter 1 through 7 and stuff.
Another thing too is like, I mean, when we were doing that like high production stuff, we ended up having multiple takes because we wanted to portray something a certain way, and it wasn't very real. It didn't really have that grittiness. It started to either feel robotic or it seemed shallow. And I mean, whether the fans noticed that or not, I think some of them had.
Oh, I fucking
it was a pain in the ass for us because it ruined like that transparency that we work for too. Where like now when you see the footage, it's one take, literally picked up the camera, filmed something, done. It's not try it again, do it again, do this differently. Let's try that happen again, unless the engine crashes. But it's a lot easier overall.
I'm gonna be honest too.
It's
like between like 16 and 17, I went through some shit like relationship issues. So did Tyler. That kind of like fucked us over. And then like between 18 and like or 20 and 21, that big push, like I was like super fucking depressed. I had 2 surgeries, and I really had issues there too.
You lost your house for a while too.
I lost my house for a while. Fucking became an addict for a while. I had issues I needed to get over, and like still not really over them, but I'm fine. and chapter 21, like I said, it was really a turning point for us.
We realized we had to get serious about it. So. Yeah. Anyway, next question. How many rewrites do you have to do in ES from chapters 1 to now?
Jesus. Shit tons.
I don't even know if I can give you a number. I mean, I wasn't involved in the programming parts from chapter 1 to go, but I've been around since then, and I can't even begin to tell you how many like rewrites or changes that just fundamentally like changed everything.
You have to understand. Go back to chapter chapter 1, I had just graduated high school. Everything that I knew and everything I did, I was 100% self-taught, and for the most part, like we all still are. But like I had not been developing games for years, you know. Like as you develop, you get better at what you do. You learn from your mistakes, and like as like an artist in any way, you know, when you learn like how to do something better, and like you're pouring your heart and soul into this project, like you're not as motivated to work on the project when you know like your code sucks, like you know it won't scale in the long term. So like it's like an emotional like catharsis to be able to go back and like clean up, you know, and like make the project grow with you. So like if we didn't rewrite some of the shit we had in chapter 1, like there's no fucking way that we would be able to do the stuff we're doing now. So like, you know, yeah.
See, guys, the advantage of actually keeping logs, I can tell precisely how many rewrites I did in art. So now we're actually on the second global rewrite. The first one was when I finally got pixel art, and the previous pixel artist disappeared, and I decided that his shit sucks, and we can do better.
I hope he's not watching.
It fucking did.
Dude, he might be fucking watching, bro.
To be fair, he's like the dolls that he had, the walking cycle and characters, those are fucking pristine. The buildings, come on, dude, you could do better. The caves also were really good. Caves were really fucking good. But then again, they weren't really effectively tiled.
That's what he was working on when he kind of dropped off. So
yeah, and then the caves aren't really tiled efficiently. But yeah, that was like the first big rewrite. Then only like zone-wise, there was that issue with the what's the name? Come on, help me. The dungeon, the first dungeon, when I was kind of struggling with the floor, and then Leandro did like really fucking great job of it.
Are you talking about the ruins?
Yeah. Remember the ruins, like the floor that I did? That was like really fucking sucky floor. I had to redo it.
Talking about the first cave, I liked the floor.
I did too. I liked it too. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, everyone did. Like okay, so the problem, guys, with that floor.
He's like everyone liked it, but it was shit.
Yeah, that was really funny. Because everyone was like, yeah, Patrick, this is fucking awesome. Keep it on. I was like, this is fucking shit. But the problem with the floor was that it was basically too busy. You cannot have a very detailed floor because you're gonna put a lot of shit on top of the floor, including players and enemies. So if your floor,
it sounds really familiar about a certain grass in a certain area that I had complained about.
Alright,
the grass, the grass actually is very basic. It only uses 3 tones. That floor was using geometrical shapes, which stand out more, and it was using. Come on, it's
alright. Next question. I can't handle all this art shit. Alright. What made you keep the vision and motivation to make the project with all of the changes in the team since it started so long ago? Really great job in pursuing your dream, by the way. Oh, it's become a fucking, I know, like...
It's a passion project. I mean, it's something, I mean, a lot of people ask, like, hey, what else have you worked on game-wise, or like, what do you want to do after ES? And I mean, I think pretty much every response that we've had has been like all the good ideas we wanted to do. For example, like the VMU monster game and things like that. Like we wanted to make kind of like a Pokemon-ish clone, if you will. But instead of making that a separate game, we worked these great ideas into Elysian Shadows. So, I mean, it's, I guess, things like that. I mean, that's always pushing the project forward or coming up with new ideas to keep it interesting for yourself.
It's what I keep saying is like if the project grows with you, then you remain emotionally invested. But along those same lines, I fucking said it again. I'm out of my fucking mind. But yeah, it has been like kind of rough. Like you know, when we first started this project, there were a lot of people on the team, my brother, my best friend, who have like just lost the fucking drive over the years. And I guess
a ton of other people coming
crazy and obsessive, and like there were even some other people who joined who I was sure would stick with us forever. And like when they left, like it was kind of devastating, but like and they really left at like a very critical point too.
I mean, there were several times we had leaned on people like that when, you know, we had our own stuff going on in our own lives where we weren't able to be 100%, and that kind of sucked. But
it's become like a fucking obsessive quest, like a fucking mission, and I think for me, like I've gone through like some personal shit, and like at my lowest low, it's always been like fucking ES that has got me out of like depression or whatever the fuck.
Something to continue working on, even if like your life is fucked up.
Yeah, so like in that vein, it's like I know that even if I fucking quit this project, like I would find my way back to it. So it's just like whatever, keep fucking going, keep working. Like it's
the one consistent thing in my life that's always brought me some form of either dopamine or happiness. So.
Exactly.
It's deep.
So yeah, we have that's really what it is. It's an emotional connection to your project and to your work. It's the best way to describe it.
What programming project has made you improve the most?
Elysian Shadows.
I don't know. I guess like Eddie. I don't know if you guys or Dan, someone else can answer that.
Like maybe we should answer it like more specifically. Like I'm assuming no shit you would think that I would mention ES. Like what within ES? Like for me, I have always been like a gifted programmer. Like I know that I've been very like fortunate in the way my brain works and how I've been able to pick that up. But I've always been like a fucking terrible mathematician, and like I've always
had to work at math really hard.
It never came naturally to me, and I always like kind of envied like these fucking like mathematical geniuses. And like for me, like my favorite things and the things that have had to push me the hardest in ES were like the more mathematical things, like the lighting engine and the physics engine. Where like once I conquered those, I was like, damn, dude, like I'm becoming like a very like capable mathematician as well, and like my understanding of like especially like the linear algebra and the shit underneath that, like I feel like it didn't necessarily make me a better programmer, but like maybe it did, because now I'm able to do more stuff with code and broaden my mind like that. So for me it's math and math related stuff with the lighting and physics.
Mine, I guess, ES has been a huge part of my life, but my previous job working with huge code bases and open source software for like VoIP technologies like Asterisk and Linux and all of the modules and hardware along with software like that, and having to learn like all of the telecom shit in addition to the software stuff that I knew. I mean, that really, I guess, maintaining that code base and pushing that product forward really helped, I guess, with like the multitasking when it comes to that kind of thing. And I find myself using a lot of the same habits that I developed there in developing ES now.
That's why our code sucks. I'm just kidding. We have almost.
There's any SIP, nothing. Don't worry about.
We're right at about 100 viewers, so no pressure.
Guys, give me a sec. Guys, give me a sec. Leandro, put some more shadow under the chin of the guy. Because right now it looks like his head is like going.
They're bitching about art in the stream.
Yeah, like maybe pick up like even darker color maybe, because when you remove the outline, also I think you remove the outline by just painting over even more jacket. Change this to like more.
Also, Leandro, you are muted if you are trying to talk. By the way, I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, like guys, like help me out. Like his head looks smaller, doesn't it?
Yeah. You were just trying to answer these questions the whole time, and we're just talking over you pricks.
Oh,
that's funny, dude.
I'm so sorry.
I just noticed, yeah, you were muted, man.
All right.
So like this, maybe.
Yep. There you go, Leandro.
I mean, because when you painted over his like head outline, did you use the jacket color or did you use his head color?
All right, I'm moving on to the next question, dude. These questions all have like 13 fucking votes, and there's like hundreds of them and shit. Okay.
Development.
Grab some more coffee. I'll be right back.
Okay, you need. Oh God, why do you have to ask such negative shit? You need about 49,000 in 13 days. What happens if the Kickstarter doesn't achieve the amount you need? How else will you be able to fund the game to keep you guys in business? Well, first of all, I will probably develop a heroin addiction. Like, I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. Like, I've always wanted to try it, but I've cared too much about myself and my ambitions and stuff. But like, I don't know. When you lose everything, you do dumb shit. But I'd probably be super fucking depressed, and we all would for like a week or something, and then we'd probably pull our heads out of our asses and try to put something together. But obviously, if we can't complete the Kickstarter, some shit's going to change. We're not going to have time to do adventures in game development like we've been doing it because we'll have real jobs.
Yeah,
so, I don't know.
I need to find a job again. Fuck this shit.
I don't know. Like, honestly, I haven't spent a bunch of time focusing on, like, what will happen if the Kickstarter fails because I've been so busy fucking working on making sure that it doesn't fucking fail. So, I don't know. I'd be fucking devastated. Suicide. But I don't think it will fail, and I will not fucking sleep literally until it doesn't fail. Alright, next question. Hopefully it's lighter than that. You guys have mentioned that the vision for the game has really
Wait, there is what are you reading?
The
currently
next
answering.
question.
But there is one for Falcon and Tyler. How much free time do you have as full-time indie dev? It's like currently answering. It's picked. It's
okay,
in blue.
Well, I can see that it's big. All right.
I mean, okay, so I'm gonna read it for you. For Falco and Tyler. By the way, like most of us are actually full-time devs, indie devs. So it's not. Come on. Fuck, the question faded.
Just read the damn question.
I lost the damn question. Who's messing around with the thing?
Oh my god. Okay, so what was it? How much free time do we have?
Yeah, it was basically how much free time do we have, like us indie game devs.
I have no fucking free time. Like my life is literally we wake up and like we either fucking do PR and like fucking promote as hard as we fucking can so we hit this goal, or we're trying to work on something in the game to fucking show you guys on as a Kickstarter update to attract new people. Like literally from the minute we fucking wake up to the minute we like pass out from fucking exhaustion on the couch, other than like fucking watching the X-Files at night out of our goddamn mind just to fucking take our mind off of all this, it's all game development.
Yeah, it's a 16-hour job essentially, and like I'm living in this room which is like 3 by 4 meters. Like most of the time, I'm only leaving it to
do
groceries essentially.
Incredible.
So it's like basically you wake up, you eat a breakfast, whatever the time zone you have, and then you start doing shit. You take a break, you do more shit. You take a break, you do more shit. You eat something, you do more shit.
And then you read comments and you try to interact with the fans, and you have to fucking make Facebook updates, Twitter updates. You have to keep like fucking engaging people, and then you have to make a fucking battle plan. Like, okay, we're starting to slow down a little bit more. We need to engage the press. We need to do this. Like, it is a fucking battlefield. I wish I could tell you guys that running a Kickstarter campaign is just like this pure noble cause where like you have like this great game and like just the world will accept it for what it is and people will back you. That is fucking bullshit. It is a chess game. It is like, especially with the gaming press, like it's just fucking, it's politics. A lot of it is politics, and it's unfortunate, but like if that's what it fucking takes to make our dreams come true, then like we've had to fucking learn the trade. Like
essentially the maxim build it and they will come. It doesn't work. Like it's a myth. It does like if we wouldn't have you as an audience, if you wouldn't have like this massively popular video series, we would be fucked. Like we would have like maybe fraction.
I have no idea how Kickstarters make it that come into the game with like no social media presence or like no previous fan base or anything. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, like, I saw such a great projects that just had like no presence and they just flopped hard. So
we're especially fucked right now because we're coming in at a time where Kickstarter is really like this
catching a lot of flack.
It's oversaturated. The day before we fucking started our Kickstarter, fucking Kotaku puts out this giant article about how evil
why Kickstarter sucks and like why it doesn't work.
In the past, if you had a game that looked halfway as good as ours, like you'd be all over fucking Kotaku and IGN, and like we would have already hit our goal. But now, like all of our 100 grand, we have had to work our fucking ass
without a single big site writing about us
to promote to do it. Yeah, we have yet to have a
selling our game like prostitutes. We've been selling ourselves.
We have, and like not to like stroke our egos, but like the amount of money we've been able to fucking make organically is unheard of. Like, show me another project that's done 100K without even getting a fucking shout out from Kotaku.
Halfway through the Kickstarter.
Yeah, without any sort of media coverage from the big guys. Like, it's just horrible. And then you have like pieces like how all indie games are scammers and early access is shit and it's just
But in response to that article, Red Bull Games, which we've done an interview with, actually wrote a huge article about why Kickstarter does work and why it's like the press's fault for like supporting these projects they didn't fully understand, or just because of they were a big name, but the project as a whole was not a good idea, not planned out well, wasn't budgeted correctly. Right. And it is the press's fault.
But that's one thing we've been able to do too, is we've seriously made like some amazing friends and connections in the press with like medium and smaller gaming sites who are fucking report on video games because they're genuinely good fucking games, not because like they're just reporting on dumb shit for like the views and stuff, because like they're truly passionate about gaming.
Yeah, and they know this shit. Like I've been actually talking with a couple of guys from press, and like I have them on Facebook, and they genuinely know their shit, and they know how games are made and what are the problems. And like you would think that those people in those big sites would know their shit, but more often than not, like you read articles, especially as a game dev, and you see like this person has no fucking clue how video games are made.
None.
Like no fucking clue.
That's funny.
Hey, Trask actually asked Patrick a question. What is the inspiration behind Adventures in Game Development's graphics, or the Adventures in Graphics development? What do you hope to keep us up on, like, to date?
It was actually video intended for my own channel, and initially actually uploaded it on my own channel. Like I said, hey guys, like I was really excited about what I did because it is big fucking breakthrough. If you're gonna watch the video, like after the live stream, watch it because it's like completely new art style that I saw maybe 3 instances ever on like entire internet, and none of them is like the concept is the same, but the actual art style is not found. Like what I did is like just not
reinventing pixel art for our game. Nobody has ever done such a thing before with permanent lighting. We're making it up as we go.
Yeah, it's a next-gen pixel art essentially. It's a next-gen. Like I made a joke in Reddit topic, but it is actually next-gen pixel art.
Oh, fuck!
And like I was like, I actually had something to talk about, so I made this video and I uploaded it on my own channel because like I know that you guys are mostly interested in programming and Dreamcast and what's Falco and Tyler doing. So I didn't really wanted to push myself into the main spotlight. But as Falco was watching the video, it's like, shit, dude, take this shit down. I want this on main channel.
Yeah, I watched it.
It was a well done video too. You did a good job.
I watched this video and I'm like, wow, this is actually really fucking good. And I was like, Patrick, you take that down right fucking now. We're putting it on the main channel. And we're sitting in chat. I was worried it was a rant
that Patrick just went on for an hour about pixels and
we're sitting in chat like fucking drinking and shit, like watching the X-Files, like what are we gonna name this thing? And like we just had the idea, Adventures in fucking Graphics Design Chapter 1. So like we'll see where that goes. Like I don't know. I think like what Patrick's done there is really cool. Like in the same sense.
I think we'll have a few more chapters because this are our adventures in graphic design.
I would like to see some stuff from you too, Leandro. Like you two could actually have like your own like little spin-off series and work on that, and I'm sure we'd probably engage a lot more of the audience that way too.
Yeah, so really we could put it in the same banner. I mean, come on, we're both artists and we're both learning. What's interesting is that we have different perspectives because I'm mainly a digital guy and Leandro's more of a traditional artist. So that's gonna be really interesting to watch both of us, I believe. As for like what's the content, let's just close the question first. As for like what's the content, I think I honestly have no idea. Probably some sort of like a better in-depth view in what we're actually doing, showcasing of the entire build scene, and then probably
and running in the
design,
probably.
And also trying to stuff out and see what happens, because we don't know exactly how it will look in game. If the normal map is one way or another.
I've been playing around with the idea of like putting death map entirely into blue channel of the normal map, which was pretty interesting. And then probably something like from the design to actual pixel art, because with this style we will be doing a hell of more actual concept art. It's gonna be more because the pixel art itself is like a lot easier. Like there is not a lot of pixel art doing. Instead of painting normal maps. So we need more detailed stage before that. We cannot like prototype with the normal. We need to have precise idea what we want to do before that. So we will be doing a lot more concept art.
All right, next question. We got to move on. I've been sitting on this dude's question for forever. Sorry, and I might have even fucked up the order. You guys have mentioned that the vision for this game has really changed over the years. What was the original vision? Yeah, it really has. Like I don't know.
How can we reveal that like one sheet page that we had way back in the day without ruining the story?
Well, like I don't know how much you've seen like of Adventures in Game Development, but even if you go back to Chapter 1, it was really different. Like initially, we wanted to make like a Chrono Trigger, a strictly old school style 16-bit, much more like what our publishers are doing with Pure Solar. It was something like that, along those lines. And we really had this mentality, like, Patrick, fucking no dynamic lights, none of this. Like, we want to make a strictly old school
game.
True
old school, yeah.
And especially, like, we always limited ourselves for, like, what we could do on the Dreamcast, what we thought we could pull off. You know, we never wanted to give, like, the PC, like, better graphics. It was always, like, by the lowest denominator.
The same, yeah.
But, like, you know, as we're developing this, we have, like, ideas like, oh, dude, let's fucking add physics, and Patrick won't shut the fuck up about wanting dynamic lights.
and so, custom shaders for hues.
Yeah, I think, like, we got to a point where, like, we just fucking accepted a new philosophy of trying to push the envelope and make ES everything it could be, and that's really when, like, around chapter 21, we showed up out of nowhere with a dynamic lighting engine. Like, that's when we decided to really rebrand ourselves and like reassess what we were trying to achieve with the project. But
somebody asked tips for game developers who get burnt out very easily.
My tip is don't fucking worry about it. If you're starting to feel like, oh, I'm fucking burning out, like, don't push yourself. If you push yourself, you will fucking burn out. Just like take a fucking step back, like, I don't know, spend a day on the fucking couch, watch the X-Files, fucking read some magazines, go get laid, whatever. Like, the passion will come back, you know. Just it's like it's a normal thing, you know. You work your ass off on something, like, you need to take a little break to recharge, and like, if you're truly passionate about it, it will come back. You know, you might have to take some days off. Just don't fucking freak out about it, and don't stress out about it, because that's just gonna make you even more like wanting to get the fuck away from your own.
Another thing that I do too is, like, you know, if I'm stuck on like a big problem or something like really difficult, like I'll get that working as simplistic as possible, like just get the mechanics working, try to be iterative with it, and then I'll work on like a different aspect, like I'll move back to a behavior versus like pathfinding or something like that, to where I'm working on a different part of the code base that I'm not burnt out on, that's a little bit more interesting. And like, as long as you're iterative like that, and I kind of move around a little bit, and I guess that's my ADD, but I keep it interesting for myself that way too.
There's medication for that.
Yeah.
Definitely switching context helps. Like, before I started working full-time on Elysian Shadows, I had like a couple of projects running actually, because I've been working as a freelance artist. So I would specifically try to have diverse art styles. So, you know, one of them would be vector one of them would be pixel art, and one of them would be like illustrations, like something painted. So I would have like different shit to do. So, you know, diversity and stuff.
All right, real quick. Thank you so much to a bunch of new backers. Daniel, I'm not saying anything else. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ewan, for increasing. And then I'm not going to call you out, but someone just decreased their pledge drastically. I wish I knew why. I'm not going to call you a douche, but you might regret that.
Dan, you started to say something at the beginning of that. I didn't hear what you said.
Patrick kind of covered it. I was going to say that it's the way I solve being burnt out is to always have a project on the side that's purely for pleasure. So like you were saying, where you get something working because, you know, you're getting tired of doing it, jump to this purely pleasure side project, just have fun, mess around, and then eventually, when you've had enough of that, jump back to the other one.
Right, and even like integrate that side project. Like sometimes, like I own so many fucking programming books. Like I need a break from ES. Just fucking like flip through the book, like find a chapter on like some kind of really fucking cool ass shader or something. Like, damn, I always wanted to know like how the fuck this shit works, and like read it, like, you know, just fucking chill with it, and then you're like, ooh, like maybe I could work this into ES. You know, like you can always use like your breaks to push forward your main project too.
Yeah.
All right, next. Having built your own engine now, how do you feel about platforms like Game Maker and RPG Maker? Like I said previously, I think like historically I've been kind of like douchey about like RPG Maker and Game Maker. Just like, I don't know, like I feel like they're good platforms, you know, and if
they're not bad.
You know, if that's what you're wanting to do is just like focus on making a game, you know, without having to worry about like a lot of the back end coding and stuff like that, then like go for it, you know. Yeah. It really depends on what you're trying to do, you know. If that's the tool to achieve your goal, then by all means go for it, and like you don't deserve any fucking disrespect from the community.
There's actually a big parallel between that and like a lot of music stuff, and that is that like people think like, oh, you know, you use a computer to do this, use a synthesizer to do that instead of recording a real live audio thing, and all of a sudden you're not true and you know, like you're not unique and talented, but it's like you use whatever tool you have to do exactly what you want to do.
Right.
And so people who think that like you have to spend 3 years from the ground up learning SFML or something when you could just use Game Maker because you just want to make a basic RPG. I mean,
you got to start somewhere. I mean, not everybody like has the drive to learn C and C++.
Hey, and you know what? Like I do know a lot of people who started with Game Maker and RPG Maker. Like it's really not a bad platform to start on. Like I personally started game development with fucking like I don't know, probably never heard of it. It's a game called Forcadia. Like Marcel and I used to make our own. Yeah, we used to make our own fucking levels in that game and like script them up with like this thing called Dragon Speak, and like truly that was how I got into game development, which is even more fucking primitive than Game Maker. So like
I used to play around with a ton of different like
I'm not about to hate.
It's like Morrowind or Neverwinter Nights and stuff like that, and I really started to get into like design and gameplay that way. That was always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Modding the shit out of every game I own.
Next question.
Also, I think coffee's done. Hang on.
I'm about to get more, dude. This coffee's
I'll fill you.
back. What is your advice for making a 2D RPG in C++? The fuck? That's my cup. No. Oh, thank you, bro. I don't really have any specific coding advice because like it's too fucking broad of a thing for me to like specifically say like do this. But I think like I can give you emotional support, and that first of all, no one is going to appreciate what it takes to make an engine, especially not a 2D engine when like they're gonna be like, oh, it looks like fucking Game Maker, it looks like this. Like, first of all, fuck them. Like, know the worth of your own project. Keep your head down. Don't listen to the haters. And like, especially for us, we had some people quit the team because I was spending all this time developing an engine that needed to be developed to like realize our creative vision. And a lot of our old teammates did not, you know, they didn't share that vision, and to them it looked like, oh, you're creating an engine. I don't see any tangible progress on an actual game happening, even though like I'm doing a significant amount of work that needs to be done to make the game. You know, just be fucking confident in your creative vision and fuck everyone else. It's really all I can say.
To add to that, I would say, especially if you're working just on your own rather than in a team, and especially something that isn't of the scale of Elysian Shadows, you might find it easier to create the game itself so you have something visual that people can see, and then when you get far enough, if you extract the rendering side and the input side, then you have them because you kind of have a small scale engine.
Right,
well,
yeah,
so
that's a good point too. And still, like, along those lines, like, our engine very much does evolve, like, with the needs of ES. Like, it's very much a two-way street. Like, I've implemented features, I'm like, and the engine should have this feature, but then it's also gone the other way where, like, I need this in Elysian Shadows, so it goes into the engine, you know what I mean?
Ambient occlusion!
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you with that, especially if you notice the blue channel that I was talking about.
Yeah, about that, fast. Blue channel is actually hate map, so we can totally incorporate the depth into blue channel. We can just like merge them together.
I know, right?
And
That's what I
we
was
could
telling you.
use alpha. Yeah, you were right. I mean, I had to do a bunch of research, and then we can use the alpha channel for ambient occlusion, and then we can have everything into one map. Genius.
No, because you still need the specular map, home skill.
Yeah, we still have to have that, so like that allows like 3 more maps that we could make.
Yeah, okay, so there's still no, and it's fine, fine, because we already have that, two samples. So like, then there's also the specular map, which is grayscale, so like we truly still have
I know
channels
what
to
specular
fuck with.
Wait, so we're gonna have 2 maps, one or the other, so we could have specular and occlusion on one file, just in the different color channels.
Yeah, well, okay, basically, you can have 2 fucking maps. Do what you want with them, and tell me and I'll fix
2
the
maps.
shaders.
Oh,
like
yeah.
6 to 8 channels, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's more than
You're
enough.
not getting any more than 2 maps, though. That's too many fucking.
There's no way. It's already going to be ridiculous for the Dreamcast and mobile devices.
The
Dreamcast
Dreamcast can't do like ambient occlusion and stuff. It does not. You have to have a programmable pipeline for that. Dreamcast can do bump mapping in hardware, which is like really why we're lucky on the Dreamcast. But it's not going to do like ambient occlusion and shit.
So I have a question. In Russian. I see.
Yeah.
People
fucking
read it in Russian. Come on.
Translate it.
So, can I just answer it in Russian, or what? How does this work?
I don't know. I would answer it in Russian, then convert it. I'll be right back. I got to take my fucking crazy pills.
Okay.
Read it first in Russian and answer in Russian, and then tell us in English.
Okay, I'll start in Russian then. Это мой первый проект. Я узнал об Elysian Shadows через их канал YouTube, и когда им нужно было... ой, блин, как сложно сейчас.
Dude, I gotta say that's actually pretty sexy.
Ну, в общем, им нужен был человек, который помог им нарисовать все, и я просто оказался в нужном месте в нужное время. Ну, эти ребята тоже очень... Мы с ними уже теперь большие друзья, и все прекрасно. Ой. Well, that was strange. So I'll translate it in.
Did he ask you to like whip out your dick or something?
I have no clue what you just said.
If he did, like, just tell him we'll do it for $50.
Actually, I fumbled a lot with Russian because it's hard for me to go back and forth with languages. So sorry if that question wasn't properly answered. But basically, the question was why this was my first project. Why is Elysian Shadows? There are a lot of Russian projects of indie games that need people.
So they're trying to steal you. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I said, well, I basically explained how I met you guys. I was a fan of Elysian Shadows, of the Adventures in Game Development series. And basically one day you released a video saying that you don't have enough time and need another pixel artist, or are looking for more pixel artists. And I was like, that could be an interesting opportunity, and I was interested in pixel art. I wanted to learn it.
And you had no idea what you were getting yourself into.
I just kind of went from there.
Can I just say that Leonardo is fucking boss because he's the only artist that stayed except me.
He's balls?
Like he's boss. He's a fucking boss. Because we had so many pixel artists going through the project. Like,
dude, we had a pixel artist. I shit you not. It was really funny. Like, I don't know. That's why I have an issue with like fucking getting along with artists. If you're an artist, I'm sorry, but like historically, like we had this artist who joined the team, and he's like so fucking amped up. He's like, dude, we're gonna make this fucking awesome game. We're gonna conquer the world. And like he stays up all night pixeling one of the main characters, and he's like, dude, this is fucking incredible. Like I got some kind of high off of this. Like this is amazing. And
life-changing. Like
we never saw him again. And we're like, what the fuck?
He might have died. I don't know.
No, he didn't die. I see him on Facebook.
Well, you stayed, Patrick. So you're a boss also. We made it.
Yeah,
kind of.
But I didn't have to stay with myself. Like, dude, I wouldn't stand myself.
All right, next question.
We've got one with like 14 upvotes or Google Pluses here, asking, "Can I contribute to your game with bitcoins?" Brian West, I think I know that guy.
Is that Brian West?
He's sitting in the other room. We want to take your money from PayPal and bitcoins. We really do.
We want to take your money.
The biggest thing for us, and I've said this in a couple different comments on like YouTube and things like that, is that if we begin taking that money, unlike Kickstarter, if you pledge money with Kickstarter right now, you can promise us $10,000. It doesn't do anything until the end of the funding period. So if we were to take money from PayPal and bitcoins, it would automatically debit your account or your wallet for that amount and give it to us immediately, which would be awesome because then we could like buy food and shit. But we would have to be obligated to obviously send it back if we don't get funded. Now, once we get to that point where we're funded, whether or not we're at the end of our Kickstarter period, we'll be able to do that. Kickstarter doesn't have a problem with it. And at that point, we know we're funded. The money you're giving us, we'll keep track of it for, like, if you wanted to pledge, like, $30 with Bitcoins, we'll keep track of that kind of thing. But until that point, we don't want to have to worry about sending money back from PayPal or things like that with fees and everything else because, say, worst case scenario, we don't get funded, we would, like I said, be obligated for that. The fees of moving things back and forth and everything, we'd probably end up in the hole from it. Right. So we want to wait till we get funded, and then absolutely we're doing all of that.
So to answer your question, yes, we're going to accept every payment form once we hit 150K. Yes. So just hang tight.
I mean, I've been thinking God forbid, I know, like, if
all right, end the conversation. I know where you're going. You're always emo. We're not fucking going there.
No.
No. Cutting you off.
It's optimistic. It's about money. You want money, right?
What optimism means.
I mean,
you're a fucking dark motherfucker, dude.
My heart bleeds. Like,
dude, you're the reason I have a fucking Lexapro script.
I love you too. I love you too. What I was saying that maybe we could just copy the Kickstarter tiers onto our website after the Kickstarter finishes, so all the people that were late to the party, they could actually contribute to
absolutely
to us directly by PayPal or Bitcoin.
And if we have extras of the posters and stuff like that, we want to continue selling
things because some of those are Kickstarter specific.
After the Kickstarter is done, we're gonna, or at least after we're gonna get enough money, so we're gonna get funded, then we can make it directly into our website, and that's additional benefit that we skip Kickstarter, skip the middleman, and we get more money. Because Kickstarter takes a cut, if you didn't know.
All right, next question.
Yeah.
Will the game include like cutscenes animated 3D or pixel art?
Yes.
That was not a yes or no question.
Yes.
It's not. I mean, it's not going to be what. I mean, how? Do you mean like 3D as in models? Because like the game.
I think he meant 3D models.
No, it's not. It's not going to be 3D models. All the cutscenes will be in game, especially because you have like this cohesive vision for not wanting to break like the. You know, we don't want to break like going to an overworld menu. We definitely don't want to break like the fucking game to go to another perspective.
For example, like a lot of the Kickstarter video that you saw was used like NPC waypoints. We didn't want to have to try to record again and again and again with like us moving the character around. So all of that, including some of the camera movement, was scripted. So like, for example, that was kind of like a part of it was like elaborate cutscenes, panning the camera around while we were moving. So absolutely, I mean those kind of cutscenes, especially in like the perspective view, or like zooming in for like dialogue or like really emotional scenes when the characters are doing some sort of action, like absolutely 3D with pixel art using like the perspective camera.
Right, and yeah,
3D as in three-dimensional perspective of using sprites on two-dimensional planes, because people normally I mean, I know that our engine is 3D, but when people normally say 3D, they mean like 3D models. Also, watch the newest adventures in game design, the artistic design or whatever we named the series.
He doesn't even know what his own fucking video is called.
Like, this shit. Okay, so sorry for stroking my own dick here on like online, but when I finally saw like this what I did this tree, it's like it looks like three-dimensional object. It looks like 3D model, but it's also pixel art, and it's really fucking awesome.
Welcome to fucking shading and bump mapping. All right.
Yeah, normal mapping.
Question. Hey, we have a new backer. Thank you. Fucking, I don't know your name. I'll check in just a second. Sorry, I've been holding on to this question and fucking. How much story-wise did ES change over the course of time, or has it always been set in stone from the start? Actually, believe it or not, I would say the story has changed the least amount of everything. Like, and we originally began as a storyline concept. Yeah. And it's funny because people criticize us for not having a very well developed story, but like the truth is we don't want to give too much away because we don't want to fucking spoil it because we have an insanely developed story, and like we're having a hard time like telling too much of it without like spoiling it.
I mean, way back in the day, before Lua was back into the engine and everything like that, we had like a really boiled down, like simple outline of the story, is about 1 page or so. That quickly got developed into like a 70-some page Google document where we had pictures and comments from all the team members, you know, talking about this specific sentence or this specific idea. You know, that's since been printed out, and that's actually what's in that giant binder that you've seen in like Adventures in Game Development is our entire design doc. I mean, there's a lot of handwritten stuff in there now, and we haven't updated the Google doc recently, but we've also got like giant walls of text on the forums and everything like that that is all story development as far as like character narratives or main plot. I mean, everything. So it's definitely grown, but it's just been enhanced on that core ideas that we had, the principles of the story.
All right. Next question. I'm updating my fucking email to see the back.
I'm reading through them before I pick them. If your Kickstarter works out, and I hope you go higher than 150K, are you planning on come together to Falco's house or rent an office or start the studio to finish it in the game? I think it'd be hard.
Thank you, Stephen, Jeremy, Ernest, and Gary. Thank you so much. Thank you. I love you.
We've already actually got a planned space for office space. As much as we do enjoy the whiteboard walls in Falco's house specifically, we need to have a little bit more of the separation from personal life.
Oh my god, dude! I think that's why we're so fucking crazy, is because like we fucking never leave this room, and like we fucking pass out on the floor in the same room we're working, and like
wake up and just right back to it.
There's no separation of like personal life and development life for us.
I mean, that's also kind of like the indie development mindset too. I mean, it'll be nice once we do actually get our office space. Like I said, we've already got plans for that.
We do actually, yes, we do. My father actually has a giant like warehouse that we're going to be converting converting into a studio after this Kickstarter, so that is very much like a thing we do.
And granted, that is here in Alabama, but we're trying to convince the rest of the team members to move here too, if we get enough funding.
Please, now I'm even more sad about the current situation with visas, because I would love to just move and work in fucking office instead of a goddamn fucking house.
That's why, like, when Dan came out, we're trying to, like, convince him how cool America is. Like, we're taking him to the strip clubs, like, taking him gun shopping and stuff, and we're like, Merc!
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I'm just sad.
Although, having stayed there for a month, I have to say, spending the time in the white walls for like a month straight, it's a good experience.
I mean, it is stressful. It's good, but I mean, it's also good to get out of the room. But granted, when we did get out of the room, we went down to like the beach week before last or whatever. We were in the room for like 2 days, and we're like, dude, we're at the beach. We haven't been to the beach. Like, we're still doing PR and still working. I mean, yeah. How do I keep focus on creating games? Don't you get distracted by other things? And if so, any advice on what to do against constant distractions?
Yes,
I mean, we get distracted. I mean, even in working on like different parts of the code base or different problems that crop up in development, I guess that kind of ties back into how to avoid getting burnt out. I mean, there's always something that's incredibly interesting to work on, and I mean the whole project is incredibly interesting, but I get really detail oriented with like specific animation things, or like for me I'm always working on like a different spell effect or different kind of combat thing like that I get these like ideas, and like you'll see it like drawn out on graph paper graphically how I want to represent this stuff and things like that. So if you can't focus on code for some reason, like writing like those minute details, go to like something that's like a little bit more design oriented, even if it's just like pen and paper drawing out an idea or trying to come up with like an idea of how to implement that in code. If don't fight that too much, because if you do, you will get burnt out.
That's really fucking good advice. That's really fucking good advice. And like, yeah, especially for me too, like I notice sometimes I get fucking burnt out or my brain is not fucking working correctly to be coding or doing like the math and shit for the
crazy physics stuff or
so
whatever.
Yeah, when that happens, like I don't. Well, sometimes I just don't.
Sometimes you gotta push through.
And like I'll switch to something more creative. Like I'll go build a level, or we'll like talk about storyline for the day. Fucking on the couch in our bathrobes and stuff. Like there's other ways to develop a game. It's like when you get burned out, there's other aspects of like. Yep. Game design, that's more creative versus more technical, that's less mentally demanding, that's more like emotionally fulfilling, just.
And that's what's nice about indie development too, is like if you did work for a big AAA company or working for a software company, like what we did with our desk jobs until recently, like this is your job, this is what you have to do, this is your code base, you have like this set of problems you're working with every single day. You can't walk away from that and say go work on like the web GUI for like AdTran or something. Like that's not your responsibility. You don't have access to that. But like for ES at any given point, I'm working on like GUI elements, or I go work on spell effects, or I work on Pathfinder, I'm going back to like this animation thing. Like there's always something like that I can work on that's either really code intensive or not code intensive, and sometimes you just can't fight it. Like you just have to not to avoid burnout.
Right. All right. Next question. How many cups of coffee do you guys drink per month?
I don't think that's measurable in cups.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
It's not measurable in cups. I would probably say gallons.
Do you want it in like metric fucking tons, or are you like, I don't know if you're like a metric guy, I don't know, like
you'd have to ask Dan
American standard?
We have to go with American standard.
Way too much. Way too much.
Wow, here's one. Falco, I'm in Birmingham, Alabama, about to finish my CS degree and have started looking into jobs around here. It's Java or I'm fucked, sadly. Do you most enjoy entry-level jobs or require 2 years?
Why do most entry-level jobs require 2 years of experience?
I don't know.
Just because they're cheap bucks, dude. Like, first of all, what I would do and what I would recommend and what I did do is still apply for those entry-level jobs and put on your resume your outside projects. Like for me, for my resume, and like I get contacted all the time on LinkedIn, it's not my professional experience that fucking draws them in. It's my academic work in fucking graduate school, and it's my work on Elysian Shadows. So first of all, I can say with Elysian Shadows, even though I just fucking graduated, that I've been doing like engineering personally for like a fucking decade, you know what I mean?
Yeah, those personal
So, like,
projects look really good too because that shows that you've got the drive and the understanding of what it takes to manage that kind of stuff and to work on all aspects like that. It shows you're a lot more well-rounded, or even specific if it was just like a physics engine too.
Right.
Like,
so put that on your resume and use that to your advantage. And like if they just still don't want to hire you, then fuck them. Like because honestly, like 2 years of industry experience doesn't mean shit compared to like 2 years of you like having to teach yourself something and manage your own project and everything. That's worth so much more than just like getting up every day and doing what your boss tells you. So put
and
that
I've met people who've been in the industry for 10, 15, 20 years, especially working in my my telecom job like I did previously, that still had no clue. Like, I don't know how they're getting paid what they were getting paid, or like how they got that position. Like, I mean, both Birmingham and Huntsville are really nice in the fact that there's a ton of jobs around here like that, but it is kind of saturated that people think they can say an entry-level job requires 2 to 4 years experience or something like that, and then they don't want to pay you crap. But just keep pushing out there and try to find a job that is interesting enough that, you know, you'd be willing to put up with some of that bullshit.
By the way, Home Skillet, there's way more jobs up north here in Huntsville than there are down there in Birmingham. So start applying up here, and it's definitely not all Java up here. We're goddamn sure.
Yeah.
Send me a resume. All right, next. How has the Kickstarter campaign changed the pace of development? Fucking drastically. That's how.
Because we spend all of our time doing PR.
Yeah, like the minute you launch a fucking Kickstarter campaign, like I couldn't even go on fucking Facebook for like a week without just being bombarded by questions and stuff. A Kickstarter campaign is a full fucking time job for about 3 of our team members. The other guys are definitely working, and like we're trying to work when we have time, but like that's just the nature of it. If it's not a full-time job, you're not doing a fucking good job on your campaign. You don't have enough people or enough interest if it's not a full-time job. So yeah, it has slowed down the pace of development, honestly. But on the flip side, like we've been able to interact with so many new fans and get so many new so much new perspective on the project. It really probably has benefited the project substantially because I'm out there like interacting with people, like listening to fucking complaints and criticisms.
We try to be transparent with our development process like that. So I mean, comments on like either Stream Greenlight or the Kickstarter or our own YouTube videos or just on forum posts or even live streams like this. I mean, we're getting so much feedback from the community that honestly we would be dumb not to listen to some of it. I mean, granted, there are some ridiculous opinions about our project out there, but I mean,
I don't know,
we are making a game that we want to play, but obviously,
thank you, Rebel Coder. Thank you, bro.
Listening to the audience is important too. So I mean, we do pay attention whether or not we reply to every single comment.
Thank you, Ernest.
Somebody asked, where's my mouse? What's the funnest thing you've experienced during development of Elysian Shadows? I've been following you guys for a long time, so it makes me wonder. Oh god, everything's incredibly fun. For me, it was like when Lua was able to come back in full force. You know, the API had changed, and the way we were structuring all of the Lua scripts and everything else had changed dramatically, to where we were able to push forward to the point where we are today, where we can focus on gameplay stuff, or you know, we can move and work on like GUI elements and things like that. To where that is just being able to prototype these as different subsystems or behaviors and like entities and interactions and conversations. Just oh my god, the cohesive vision is just incredible. I mean, how about we actually make a fucking
I would have to be about the same for me. Like I spent so long developing like an engine and a toolkit, you know, that like when I was finally able to see like, especially working with Tyler, like I've seen Tyler do shit in Lua scripting, an API that like I made with my own engine that I'm like, holy fuck, I didn't even know the engine could fucking do that. And like to me, that's just holy shit. When I look at Tyler and see him do things in Lua that like I did not fucking know that we could do that. That's when I'm just like, Jesus Christ, like it's very fucking rewarding.
It's very surreal too. I mean, seeing like, okay, well, we have made this, you know, like this is happening for real. I mean, it's awesome.
And it's really made me like have to listen to Tyler a lot more too, because like he's like, we need to do this or this. I'm like, nigga, you don't know what you're talking about.
Ideas. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
I have a funny story during the development of Elysian Shadows, especially when I was in America.
There's a lot of funny stories while you were in America.
When we were preparing for the Kickstarter, and we had to come up with, or I took it upon myself to come up with a direction for the video. I don't even remember the night, Falco, where I was up late.
Oh, I remember that.
Around the Connor's music. Yeah,
I remember that night.
And then I was basically finishing up with the vision for the video. And whilst I was in my own little world listening to Connor's music, a half-naked man entered the room looking for protein bars.
Just like I imagine like I've seen it happen a couple of times. Like half awake, Falco like comes out like glasses on, like I need food. Just walking into the kitchen and back to his room. I'm like, what the?
Dude, I'm like fucking like passed out asleep. I go in the fucking studio and like Dan's in there like fucking pacing back and forth. Clearly,
The narcoleptic is pulling an all-nighter, staying up.
Clearly took a little too much of his narcoleptic medication. He's like scribbling all over the walls, like planning out this video, like fucking like head banging to Connor's music, and I'm like half asleep, like damn, dude.
Like what is happening? Yeah.
That was really fun.
I just remember waking up and going in there, and like this whole area had been cleared off, and it had like numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like annotations and everything else. I'm like, Jesus, someone has been busy. It's always fun. I mean, like we've said before, everybody on the team is like our brothers. I mean, we talk to them constantly and things like that. And actually, kind of side note on that real quick before we go to the next question, that part on the latest Adventures in Game Development that we released with Leandra walking around with the camera, we had no idea you did that, by the way.
I had
never seen that until last night.
And we're like, what the
I almost forgot I did that.
Dude, that was hilarious.
What's even happening? Like, it was so funny. Like, you were like half out of it, like, and everybody else is asleep, and like, we're trying to do this. Oh my god! Like,
that was really funny.
That was hilarious, dude.
That was too much. I just go to Alabama and sit on one place for, I don't know, 2 days straight, 2 days and 2 nights.
Yeah,
imagine our mental state. We've been doing that shit for a month, man.
I think the only reason we're not literally batshit insane is probably just because we're all like fucked up together, so like we can at least talk to them. Because if I didn't have somewhere to talk to, and I'm just like doing all this by myself, I'd be fucking.
No, you would go insane.
Yeah, like
that'd be horrible.
We walk away from our computers and stuff, especially like when Dan was here and everything, to go like on what we call like a brood walk or something like that. We go walk around the neighborhood, take a break, like stretch our legs, like kind of discuss things and go back to the work and everything. Too.
Yeah, but I'm still sitting there like on the walks, like refreshing Kickstarter like every 2 seconds on my phone. Like I can't even stop fucking thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next. Kyria.
Somebody says they demand tutorials? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Demand tutorials with Falco.
Yeah, tutorials.
Oh, I hate doing tutorials, dude.
Well, we have a tier on Kickstarter just for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a tier on Kickstarter called the Mentor. Well, I will personally take you under my wing and show you anything you want to see from the engine source code, and personally fucking train you as a developer and bestow upon you all
power
the
level your
knowledge.
devicism.
But like,
I think the price reflects how willing are we to actually teach people.
No, we're very willing, but like if you look at our YouTube channel, there's like 2 or something. There's a few educational videos like getting started. There's the vector tutorial. There's a tutorial Kendall did about like compilers and interpreters, and like we tried doing those because obviously they bring a shitload of views, and we wanted to like
differentiate our
subscribers. But like it is such a fucking pain in the ass, and like the reason we're on YouTube now is because we like being on YouTube, and like if we start doing all that tutorial stuff again, I'm just going to be burned out on YouTube. I'm not going to want to be on YouTube anymore.
No, honestly, like especially with like Patrick's like graphics design, kind of like sub Adventures in Game Development, I wouldn't mind doing some stuff like that for Lua or like some of the AI stuff. But again, that kind of goes back to wearing the hat of like a producer versus a game developer too. So I think if we hit like the weekly AIGID stretch goal, we would probably be way more inclined to do that kind of thing. I would absolutely enjoy doing it just for fun anyway, but it does take time away from development to do that.
Yes, substantially. All right, next.
If you weren't making this type of game, what would you be making? What kind of creative games do you want to create?
I hate this question.
Again, it brings us back to the point that like every good idea I think we've ever had is getting incorporated into Elysian Shadows. I mean, both like the VMU minigame. I was talking with the team a while back about like the Millennial Fair like tribute that we've done, wanting to have like some sort of like little mini games or side quests like whack-a-mole or like something like that we could completely do in Lua, to where like it kind of breaks away from that normal RPG sense, like you're playing this crazy mini game for tickets or something like that. All those kind of like little fun ideas, instead of being a standalone game, we bring into Elysian Shadows. So
right. Honestly, if I weren't doing Elysian Shadows, I probably wouldn't be in game development altogether. I'd probably run away and go fucking hide in academia and just work on my PhD and release a bunch of like academic papers and develop like an engine there and be more of an R&D guy instead of like a fucking You know, because ES is the game I want to make, and if it's not ES, then like the next thing that I would rather do is like be fully academic and R&D probably.
Because I want to make like ES porn game. The only problem is that I'm not good enough at like actual drawing. But
you want to make what? ES Pong?
ES pornographical visual novel.
Jesus. You want me to add a tier to the Kickstarter for like you get
First,
pornographic?
Dude, you know how hard it is to draw porn? I tried. You saw like you saw multiple attempts in our chat. That's not an easy thing.
I wonder where half the Skype auto downloads come from. I figured.
Oh, you know, I think like the Connor's portrait is my biggest masterpiece in that regard.
Let's see. How excited are you to actually play the game once it's finished? Are you kidding me? Like we are making the game we want to play, but
I'm excited as shit.
Come on, man. Like every time I load up the engine, I'm excited to see this new interaction or how this behavior is going to work. Like it is just extremely exciting. I can't wait to play it.
Absolutely, you should be excited too, Holmes.
I mean, if we weren't excited about the game we're making, something is grievously wrong with our project.
Yeah,
I haven't actually.
I'm not. Yeah, go ahead.
I haven't actually read any of the story yet, because I don't want to spoil it for myself.
Well, that's what he claims. I think it's just because you don't give a shit.
No, I do. I just don't. I want the final product to be my first experience, and then I'll critique it.
Then you come back and have all these criticisms.
No. Then he'll critique it after it's fucking released.
Yeah.
Loophole.
And there's like day zero patch. But to make analogy to everyone that's like wasn't game development or anything. So imagine Wordflow chocolate, and then you have this grand idea about making a chocolate, but no one ever does it. So you need to do chocolate yourself. So imagine making a chocolate for 7 years so you can finally eat it.
Right.
Jesus.
Wow, this one's got a ton of votes. Yo, Tyler, you mentioned your giant collection of books. Do you have any favorites, especially books for getting to OpenGL programming, shaders, or C++? I've got a ton of books. Most of the like tech books I have are either Lua, some sort of scripting, AI, or networking.
Hey, some
I don't know if you can even read that stuff.
Like
got a ton of Cisco books and everything from there. I mean, I was really into networking from that aspect. As far as OpenGL and shaders, that's mostly Falco, truly. I don't do any of the GPU stuff. I screw around with and break them more than anything.
I don't. Seriously, I will not let anyone touch that stuff. There are some pieces of code in the engine that, like, I don't mind if, like, someone else, like, works on them, but I am very, very fucking protective of the shaders. You do not fuck with my shaders.
Probably most of the books, like all that stuff over there, is like fantasy stuff. I love, like, Terry Goodkind. I used to be really big into, like, R.A. Salvatore, David Eddings, you name it. Actually, I got, like, all the Harry Potter books on there in hardcover, stuff like that, so...
I think Skype, Falco must have like a Skype notification pop up whenever somebody mentions shaders in our Skype chat, because when Patrick was asking me, Patrick was asking me to modify a sprite lamp shader, and Falco was just going insane. Like
he was at the gym and he's like, oh, hang on,
Patrick been touching my shaders.
Like, those fucking shaders, like I have literally fucking optimized every fucking line of code in those shaders. Like, you don't understand. Like you could literally like half the frame rate of the fucking of the game itself if you fuck with those shaders and you don't know what you're doing. Like, it is that like obsessively compulsively optimized. That's why like I am so fucking overly protective of them. These are my
I need more stuff, man. What can I need that hue shift. We cannot have it without the hue shifting.
Alright, next. I'm fucking on it, Holmes. I'm on it. For Falco and Tyler, what is your proudest achievement so far from an engine and gameplay standpoint? You want to start, Tyler, with gameplay?
Yeah. All of the Lua-based state machines, behaviors, like AI and pathfinding, all of that stuff, like I literally just pulled it all out of my ass, came up with this structure, I mean, using the Lua inheritance and everything we have for behaviors. Actually being able to see these like autonomous state machines and entities being able to move around, interact, and
also we have
crazy.
Almost 110 viewers right now.
Because really, like like all the little creatures and all the NPCs that we've created have like their own kind of personalities just from the basic behaviors and like environment responses, let alone like the input that we're able to also give them as well. So like I feel very dear about all my little creations.
My proudest achievement has to be the lighting engine. Like, there's a lot of emotional, like, I don't know if you know the story of the lighting engine, but basically it started off as Patrick would not fucking stop bitching about dynamic lights. And there were two things. One that was like kind of outside of the scope of like what we wanted to do with ES. Yeah. But then also like in my own like really fucked up like insecure way, like in my mind I wondered like, dude, that's over my head. Like I don't know how to fucking do dynamic lighting and
challenge
stuff.
Yourself.
And like I remember watching this one YouTube video of another engine who tried to pull off dynamic lighting with 2D sprites using like a Chrono Trigger scene.
Yeah, and they had like
I remember being like simultaneously like fucking impressed and like a little bit envious, like, dude, I don't know if like I could fucking do that. And like it just built up in my head to where Patrick's bitching and like I have this fucking insecurity. And then I just put my foot down and I'm like, okay, it was Christmas break, I'm gonna fucking make the greatest lighting engine I've ever seen in a 2D RPG. And I bought all the books, like learned all the fucking shaders, learned all the math, went on the internet, looked at every fucking 2D engine, because like in my mind, like if I'm gonna do this, like for the sake of my ego, it has to be the best like 2D, 3D lighting engine out there, and like I would not settle for anything less than that. And so like for me, I don't know, like I really leveled up a lot as a developer, and it really fucking like got rid of a lot of my insecurities regarding the project and my own abilities. When
I remember because you know you were obviously out of school, but you were taking a little bit of time off of work, you know, and I came over to your house, like your hair's crazy, you're in pajama pants, and you're like, I've done it, check this out. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
That was my mad scientist period, yeah. So that meant a lot to me, like emotionally, that lighting engine. Like, I was much more proud to show off Elysian Shadows, because, like, you show off a 2D RPG, and, like, it could be a great game, you know, but most mainstream gamers will be like, oh, it's just a fucking 2D RPG. But you show off, like, a 2D RPG with dynamic lighting, dynamic shadows, like, and it looks fucking pretty by today's standards, and, like, you get, like, a fundamentally different response, and it was just like really emotionally fulfilling to me to see, especially a lot of people who are like, oh, this is just some stupid ass game maker game, to suddenly be like, well, goddamn, that does look pretty good. You know?
No, and we talk about like either taking breaks from the project or working on different parts to keep from burning out. Like I think when that happened with like the audio engine, the dynamic lighting, and like the culmination of like all the new behaviors and everything, like we were truly really able to begin to actually physically see that end game vision we had really begin to take life and become cohesive like that. And we're just like, wow, this is incredible. This is what we've been working for like 7 years or whatever.
It really
like,
started to take shape, yeah.
It's the culmination of us as programmers and developers. Like, also, you'll like this one. Somebody asked, can you do more segments with still version 69XX?
Dude, like, I was talking about with Tyler and Dan, it's really funny. I have, like, this weird fucking, like, thing about XX Still a Virgin. So, like, I pulled that character out of my ass so fucking long ago, and, like, I didn't realize so many people would like it. And, like, I get that question so often, and I haven't done, like, that persona in so many years that, like, I've built up this complex. I'm like,
challenge yourself to bring it back.
I need to, like, can I still do that? Can I still pull off this fucking audacious piece of shit character? Like,
I don't know. Like, straight face.
I am still, like, I'm looking for, like, a point to fucking bring him back. So, like, I don't know. And I keep my voice, like, well-trained. Hi there, my name is XX, still a virgin, 69XX. I like Java, Starbucks, and fucking hating on indie game developers.
Well, in the newest iteration, you need to equip yourself with Fedora.
Oh, I will. No, I have plans for him, and I've been training my falsetto just so I can walk in those shoes again. You haven't seen the last of that motherfucker.
Somebody said I just upped my pledge. Are you willing to pull out the dev scotch? Granted, it's 5:20 here. We've got work to do on our Kickstarter. We can't quite get into that yet.
All right, here's the deal. I actually quit drinking about a month ago just because I do so many other fucking terrible things to my body, like trying to do this Kickstarter. So like,
unless you're in Panama City Beach.
Unless I'm in Panama City Beach at the Toy Box. But all right, so here's the deal. As soon as we hit 150K, I've already announced this. Like, we're going to throw an epic house party at my house, and everyone who's pledged, even if it's a $1 pledge, you bring your pledge like receipt as like an entry ticket to this like epic party, and then we're going to live stream it for all you guys to see. And yes, I will be fucking trashed as shit there, and I will bust out the dev scotch. But right now, I just slept 16 hours, and I didn't sleep the day before that, so I don't know that my body can handle that. And not to mention, I'm trying to stay beautiful at the gym, so like, no, don't need that yet.
Let's see. This guy says, oh, hang on, I selected it. Hey guys, I'm a longtime fan and have been before I started my own YouTube channel. I make devlogs of my game. It's pretty small though, so I was wondering if you had any advice for growing your YouTube subscriber base and creating a following.
I don't know that we're the best people to ask, because like I said, our whole like philosophy for YouTube, like when we consciously started like focusing on like, okay, how are we going to get more subscribers and like that, our videos lost their magic. Like it's really when we just don't even give a fuck anymore that like I feel like our videos are at their prime. Like I think like the best thing you can do is just be yourself, and like the subscribers will come, because it's really that emotional connection and that like sincerity in your work.
That transparency.
I mean, that's really what it is. Like as soon as you start focusing on like, oh, let's talk about this, or let's have this in the video, or let's overproduce, that's when it becomes shallow and superfluous. And I think like the subscribers can see through that shit.
Yep. Oh God, somebody asked if 4K graphics would be supported for the PC version.
God damn it! Why does everyone ask that kind of shit? Like, the problem is, first of all, like at that high resolution, you're just seeing more of the screen. Basically, you'll be able to see the entire fucking map and all of the secrets that are supposed to be off screen and stuff like that.
Game breaking to be a higher resolution.
Like on a pixel art game, you're not really gaining much from being that high res, but you're also like kind of fucking over our map design. So I don't know.
Dude, what's the problem? You just upscale it by using nearest neighbor, and then you have pixel art the size of your like finger or something.
I mean,
like
you can do 4K resolution, but it's
what
not
like
the 720p
did
or
you
something.
just say, Patrick? What the fuck did you just say, Patrick?
But just, you know, you write it off as like 4K resolution, but you're upscaling essentially everything on the pixel art. So it's essential. So it's still like I know 800 pixels, but in 4K resolution. Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
exactly.
Like that is basically just 4K and then zoom the camera in so you see as
Yep,
much as
yep. But it's 4K.
Right,
it's
like
4K.
that's what it would be, you know.
That's
like,
what it would be.
What's the point, you know? I
mean,
know.
to be fair, like even at 1080, which, you know, I have two 1080 screens, and as I'm normally working on pixel art, I keep it rendered at like 2 times zoom. Like even at 1080, I'm already zooming into pixel art to make it look good.
Exactly. And honestly, like in game, I feel like it looks better with a little bit of zoom to it myself.
Yeah.
Like I don't even feel like. I think you see more, and like there's more of like I don't know, like you see more of the world, and you're able to appreciate more of the beauty of the pixel art when it's actually more zoomed in. So I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
plus, you know, and then
dynamic combat camera.
Yeah, and then coming on for like, you know, the art design, and you know, I know that you guys hate art, but let's talk about important stuff.
I fucking hate art. I just hate art.
Well, whenever I get on a huge tangent, you're starting bitching. Basically, our maps consist of repeating similar elements from sprite sheet, right? So if you're gonna see a lot of this map, you're gonna see a lot of the same elements, and it's gonna sort of break the immersion. It's gonna just look bad. But if you zoom in, and you can
scare everyone off.
Yeah, but if you zoom in and you have like limited pool of vision, and you have limited amount of objects on your screen, then you don't see the repetition as much. So it looks like more like a video game. It looks more like it's more immersive essentially. So you know. Yeah.
Somebody said, Tyler, what's your favorite pathfinding algorithm? A+ or A*, etc. A* is nice, but it's way too intensive. I mean, it searches like every possible path. Same as like a Zizchak or whatever. Currently, we don't actually use any of that. It's just like vector navigation.
I heard vector.
But eventually, it will be JPS, jump point search. But even then, like I mean, there's so much more that we can do with it because of like the toolkit. We're already a tile-based game. Instead of trying to create some sort of nav mesh or something like that, we have all of that metadata as far as like each map location. You know, we have the ability to look at it and see like, okay, what is the collidable? Is this elevated and things like that? That really right after the Kickstarter, I want to take the toolkit and incorporate more metadata in that for pathfinding. Like I'd love to be able to like pre-process the map into large, navigable chunks, to where like instead of trying to find your way around like 40 trees, you have a pretty open space and there's like one tree there. So we can get way more become in the pathfinding and become way more intelligent instead of searching every possible outcome. And I mean, it would rape everything if we did that, especially with like a ton of entities trying to chase you or missiles and things like that. So JPS. Long story short, JPS is what we will be using with
JPS and pre-processing in the toolkit.
Yes, and all that. Micro edges. Go Google it.
Niga, I'm fucking awesome. Look at this.
What do you got on your
when ES becomes stable, will you consider releasing a press release version for people to review? Rock Lee Smile is a YouTuber that has 856 videos reviewing indie games. I'm sure he would review ES. I'm sure there are others. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think, like, the whole, like, I've seen a lot of developers who get pissed off when people do Let's Plays of their games. I'm just like, dude, you are a total fucking douchebag. You're basically getting mad at people for, like, promoting your game for free, and, like, I don't know, I just think, like, I think that is, like, the douchiest thing a developer can do. Like, we will probably give away some free copies to Let's Players and reviewers like
for
that.
Promotion, everything else. I don't
totally.
see
I mean, like, we fucking love you guys. You're helping promote our game. Like, why would we? I don't understand why there would be anything other than, like, gratitude and, like, a positive relationship between a developer and Let's Players. You know, like, I would love to watch people play ES. Like, that's, you know, kind of why we're making a fucking game. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I guess we're confident in our project and our ideas. That, I mean, it's not so much like we're worried that someone would play and sit there and criticize all the time. I mean, and, you know, some people may just do that. That's just how the internet is. But I mean, obviously, we were making a game we would love to play, and we want people to enjoy playing. So, let's see what other questions we got here.
Oh, I see the next one.
Yeah, that LibGyro one.
No. Oh, where'd the PSP one go?
Somebody grab that. No, I see it. Is the PSP still supported, or did you guys drop that?
Oh, God. Brosif, let me tell you what a pain in the ass it was to run on the original PSP. Like, okay, like, it might have more raw power than the Dreamcast. It only had 4 megabytes of video RAM, and it was just, like, a fucking nightmare to get anything to run well on it. And the problem is that, like, we were supporting the PSP, and then the PS Vita came out, so I'm like, my drive to continue supporting the original PSP was just fucking down. So right now, PS Vita is a stretch goal on Kickstarter, and, like, we would love to support that, and we'll be there. But as far as the original PSP goes, like, there's just too much of a fucking pain in my ass.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me select this one. Is LibGyro going to be open source? I know the ES engine isn't, but not sure about LibGyro. Will it be like SDL?
Yeah, that was actually originally the plan, because, and I think it still is. It's more a matter of, like, when are we, like, comfortable enough that LibGyro is mature enough that it can be used for everyone's project instead of just ES. You know, like, it's working well. It's awesome. It has all these fucking awesome features. You know, but, like, is it really scalable, and is it really able to be used by everyone's, like, 2D, 3D games right now? It's more a matter of when we get to that point. And not to mention, LibGyro really needs to be open source, because the entire, like, design philosophy behind that library is that I give you this library, and, like, you can fucking port it to, like, I don't know, the fucking Sega 32X or the Virtual Boy or whatever, and then, like, everyone else's games will run on that without them having to do anything. So, like, to really reap the full benefits of LibGyro, yeah, I feel like it does have to go open source in the long term. So I just don't know when yet.
Somebody asked, would you be upset if your game was put up on BitTorrent?
It's inevitable. It will happen.
I'm sure it will.
Not
yeah,
really.
So it's no point to get mad about it. Like, someone will do it.
Not really. I mean, I totally feel like, you know, killing ourselves and working this hard, we like, you know, deserve, like, to reap the fucking monetary benefits of our work. But if it comes down to, like, you either will not play my fucking game or you have to steal my game, I'd rather you just play the fucking game, to be honest. So
I'm the pirate party member of the group, and I will say that would be awesome.
You motherfucker. Whatever.
Connor wants us to give away the game for free.
Ain't even a thing. I ain't even mad. Whatever.
What's your biggest fear on this adventure?
Probably overdosing on something and dying. I'm just kidding.
Running out of
mine is actually that someone on the team will die, and then project will be like,
yeah, that's probably the biggest fear. One of us will die.
Falco constantly reminded me and Dan where the template C++ book was and what color it was in the closet. In case something happened to him, we could continue on without him.
Yeah, we have this running joke that, like, there's so many C++ templates in the engine that, like, every time something happens to me, I'm like, oh, grab that book, you're going to need it if I die. No, I think my biggest fear is someone on the team gets a fucking girlfriend that's needy as shit, and then they disappear, because that happens every fucking time.
And we never hear from them again.
That's the worst fucking fear. That's the worst thing that can happen at this point. It's worse than death.
What's the biggest screw up made during the development of ES, and how long did it take to fix it? Jesus.
Jesus.
Can I just say our release system?
Or what?
Can I just say our release system, the distribution?
Oh yeah, it's all Eddie's fault. Yeah, absolutely, that's the biggest screw up of ES. Yeah. is Eddie's fucking build system? Yes.
I fixed it.
Yeah, how many fucking months did it take? And not only that.
One.
Not only that, but we still can't build the toolkit with.
Like, for example, Falco's internet was out today, right? So we had to come here for the live stream. We also had to come here to compile the engine.
Yeah, like you realize how much work you're gonna have to do. That is not fucking acceptable, dude. And I keep getting on to you, and like it's all fun and games, but it's not. It's fucking serious.
Yeah.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Dude, how the fuck can we build the engine without internet access when you're fucking dynamically fucking pulling from every repo?
No, it's pulling from. Yeah.
Yeah, do you not understand how like fucked up our build system is, dude? That is completely fucked, dude.
Well, it's not my fault that Alabama has terrible infrastructure.
Dude, that is a terrible fucking idea.
Dude, you cannot assume that we're gonna have access to internet. It's unacceptable. They're living in the US.
I agree.
It's a miracle.
I agree. And Eddie's response is not "you're right." His response is "you guys are all fucking retarded." That's the problem.
I've never sworn, and you know that.
But you do it in your mind. We're just
Oh,
more
yeah,
sincere.
Face palms every time we mention C-Make or Jenkins. It's like, oh my god. I'm not sure if this has been asked before, but have you considered writing books about game development and such?
Oh, we've considered writing many books in our memoirs.
Ventures in Game Development may end up actually becoming a memoir book of the travels of game development or something, like explaining basically the entire YouTube series and some more of the behind-the-scenes stuff that we probably just shouldn't put on the internet.
The problem is that I would never have the audacity to think that I'm fucking significant enough to write like a fucking noir of my life until I've released like a successful game like ES. Otherwise, it's like you are.
Why are you wasting time doing that, man? Wasting time.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we've considered that. I'm sure at least one person would buy it. Let's see. Oh, Dan 1.0 asked, Dan Bouchard, will you upload your game to the Pirate Bay yourself with a handicap that makes gravity randomly reverse and the camera go upside down during battle, etc., like Game Dev Tycoon with a message that tells pirates that they're hurting the developers? Jesus.
That sounds like a lot of extra work. Do we
no, dude, that's one line of Lua, dude. Yeah.
I mean, that would be easy enough to do.
That's a good idea. I like it.
That or just like release a demo through Pirate Bay or something. I mean, that'd be.
If you're going to do that, then I want to replace every single sword in the game with a giant horse cock.
Jesus.
What, dude?
Jesus.
It's a pirated version. We can do that.
Somebody asked, after the Kickstarter succeeds and you have a little free time, would you guys consider putting up a recommended reading list on the site with things like programming books, science fiction, and so on?
That'd be awesome.
Or you can go to our Facebook pages and look at our likes. That probably would be for the interim.
No, don't do that. No, I have this like romantic fucking idea in my mind that like after the Kickstarter, like I'll be able to like post blogs and shit to the site and like discuss more stuff like that. And
be more behind the scenes, more specific.
Yeah, and be like more open and like fucking conversational with the fans and stuff like on the site. I would love to do that.
That's what the site's structured for right now. Honestly, that's what we're wanting to do.
You think you're gonna have time for that? You think you're gonna have time for that?
I don't know, but like I hope
if we get funded.
Yeah.
When we get funded. Do you think ES will make you pause $1 million, Dr. Evil Pinky? I would like to say yes. I believe it's worth it.
I think it could. I think it could. I don't know.
Guys, what's our retail after we release? What's the retail price for digital?
It's going to be the same as what the pledges are. I mean, it's going to be specific towards the system it's geared toward. I mean, there's no reason in selling a $50 game on iOS or something like that.
Dude, when I was reading 2 pledges and when I was making graphic for those pledges, I was that fucking drunk. I don't remember.
Jesus, we just give you this giant list.
God, I see. All right, let me answer the next question because it's quite clearly from someone in the Dreamcast community who knows exactly. Oh, it's from Liam.
Oh.
Yes, that's a very good question, and clearly you know what the fuck you're talking about. Will there be bump mapping on the Dreamcast, or is it too much considering you have to do multiple passes for a tile since the PVR lacks multi-texture support?
Well,
You know, it's just one of those things that we're gonna have to like really get the fuck in there and dig and see exactly how much we can push the Dreamcast hardware. And we've always been like very open about that. I have never once said it will be 100% for sure. I have said that like as far as the hardware is concerned, like the Dreamcast was the first console to be able to handle bump mapping. But to this day, there's still not really a commercial Dreamcast game that used it, you know? Like, so
besides a single scene.
We don't really know like how feasible it is in like a real game environment outside of like a simple fucking tech demo to pull off these effects in real time. So like,
okay, Falco, so here is the problem. Our art currently, the thing that I'm doing completely doesn't work without normal mapping. It doesn't work. So unless we're gonna make two different versions of art.
So wait, you're trying to say that like you don't have textures without bump maps? Like what the fuck?
Have you seen how textures look without normal mapping? I've made a fucking video. It's on your channel.
All right, we're gonna have to fucking take this offline, you fuck. But like, no, like
I mean, we could maybe like okay, so here is easy fix. Like we could probably like pre-render them and put them in together, but that's gonna kill a lot of the charm. So if we don't have normal mapping, then it's gonna be quite a pain in the ass. That's what I'm saying.
We'll talk about this offline.
That's a price of progress, mate.
Are these live streams therapeutic or more a pain in the ass? A little therapeutic, honestly. It's kind of a change of pace. It's a break from some of the code, even though I'm totally sitting here reading about Lua shit. I know Patrick and I believe Leandro are both doing art right now. It's kind of relaxing, honestly, just being conversational and talking to people that isn't Falco or the rest of the team.
Because, you know, talking to me is not therapy. It's not, because you talk to me and I'm like, oh, fuck, we need to do this, we need to fucking do this. Now, it is actually therapeutic for me. I used to fucking hate doing live streams when we did them before, but like...
well, back then they were terrible.
Yeah, they were fucking terrible before we got back to Adventures in Game Development. But like, it reminds me that like this crazy fucking project that like I'm selling my fucking soul and losing my mental health and physical health for, it reminds me that like people actually fucking appreciate it. And it reminds me like why the fuck I'm doing this. So, no, it's therapeutic.
Somebody totally called me out on something. Tyler, in an older video, you stated that you never would work on a Mac. However, I believe that you have a MacBook set up right next to you. What made you change your mind?
Well,
oh my God. First of all, I was given a Mac from my work. I successfully avoided using one for about 2.5 years until I had to give in. Terminal is just way too convenient, and I hate like Cygwin and all the Windows alternatives. Mac does have some of the nicest hardware I've seen, although I still absolutely loathe OS X. Don't even get me started on that. I hate it. That's why my Mac is...
I'm on a fucking Mac, and I still hate OS X.
However, it's convenient for deving. It truly is. I actually had to bite the bullet when I quit my job and went and bought one.
He's still paying it off.
I don't know. I have such a mental dissonance with that. I hate Macs, but you know, my home machine is Windows. I've got a Mac laptop. You know, we have to be able to develop on all these different environments, so I needed it.
Dude, we just bought a $6,000 fucking 6-core Mac Pro for like
the trash can.
Videos. Yeah, dude. So, like, I have a fucking MacBook Pro, fucking iPhone, iPad, Apple TV.
Yeah, and I've got all the Droid devices and everything else too, so we can test on everything.
And I still hate Mac.
Oh yeah, I actually loathe it.
It's my platform of choice, but I still fucking hate it.
Let's see. With all the complex programming experience you've gained from ES, do you think you'll ever attempt a full 3D game engine?
What does
our engine is
that question pisses me off because it is a full 3D game and engine. Just replace fucking sprites with like a model. That's it. Like draw sprite, draw model. It is a full fucking 3D game. Like there's nothing like fundamentally different about this. Even the collision checks and the physics are happening in 3D. Like I don't think people understand that it is a fucking 3D engine.
It is.
Even in the 2D view, it is still, everything is truly in 3D, and you're just seeing it through a 2D perspective.
Let's see.
Anyway, sorry for saying I like a dick. I get self-conscious about that.
I mean, dude, I'm slowly getting annoyed because I really solve the questions as well.
Somebody asked, one factor of game development, I guess, is how easy it is to take too much inspiration from old classics. Have you encountered any difficulties in this way? And if so, how have you overcome it?
How would you define too much?
Too much.
Inspiration?
I mean, obviously, we're not trying to simply recreate like Secret of Mana with different graphics and that's it. You know, we're not stopping the envelope there. I mean, you know, there's a reason why these games are nostalgic or cult classics or were a big deal for their time and really pushed the envelope at the time of their own release when, you know, that was like the game to be playing and, you know, still is as a good solid reference. I mean, there were things that these games did back then that other games either didn't or were revolutionary in gameplay. I mean, look at like the original Final Fantasies alone, not any of the more current ones, but all the way up until that point, you know, they really changed. They had their own like genre, if you will, the JRPG and things like that, like, you know, Spawn Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, like all of this kind of stuff. I mean, we're inspired by gameplay elements and the experience that these games, you know, had on us as kids or even adults, like being able to have like the feels, you know, like, I mean, you're playing a game and you're just like, wow, this is incredible, like this experience, like it's like playing through a book or, you know, playing through something more realistic than Call of Duty walking around with a gun where like you look down and you see legs, but it's not even really attached to a body or something. I mean, I don't think it's possible to take, I guess, too much away. I mean, look at it another way, too. Instead of taking, like, inspiration and wanting to incorporate certain mechanics, we also have learned specific and very valid lessons from these older games, too, you know, what they've done wrong or what didn't work well, you know, either gameplay-wise, story-wise, and things like that. So we take some inspiration from that as well. You know, learn from somebody else's mistakes instead of making them ourselves.
Yeah, it's the same with everything, even things like chess. There's, you know, grandmasters in chess who study chess, write books about it, so that new players can then have that inspiration and that knowledge and then go further. So the games that we're inspired by, I don't see an issue with it because we're taking those and doing something completely new with it.
Right.
And what's really cool too is like everybody on the team, you know, has their own like genre that they're really fond of and things like that. You know, we say this all the time, but like Connor is really big into like survival horror and things like that. So I mean, he kind of brings that element to the team that like, you know, we may not have been that heavy on to begin with. So it's really interesting to see some of that stuff come into play as well. And of course, he always complains about like Silent Hill, like Downpour and stuff like that. So like, yeah, I think he's learned some of the valuable lessons that like those guys have made.
Yeah, well, I understand like when someone's saying take too much inspirations from old games because there are certain things that old games did, like certain design principles because of the limit of the touch architecture.
Oh, there are, you know, and if it's something that sucks, obviously we're not going to include it. If it's something that like
yeah, but it's important to see the difference and to, you know, to instead of blindly copying, to actually learn from them and learn from their choices and understand the underlying principles why certain choice was made that way and the other, and that's how you can actually learn. And not by copying. A lot of devs are making the mistake of just blindly copying, and they don't learn any lessons.
Listen to Patrick having good advice over there.
Somebody asked, is the death penalty going to be in the game?
What? Oh, because of our whole moral dilemma thing?
Yeah.
Now, when you die, what happens when you die in game?
I don't think that's what he's asking.
When you die in the game, you go to Silent Hill.
There will be.
It might. Now that I'm thinking about it, like,
I can see a couple different areas in the plot that could fit into. You know, that's pretty strong, and I know that's a huge topic of debate, especially here in the United States. Still,
I like it.
I like that. Probably. The answer is probably.
Right. Fucking write that down.
Oh, you mean like death penalty as in like the law thingy, as you break the law and they kill you for it?
Well, like the whole moral dilemma of like, you know, do you
that's interesting.
believe in that? Yeah.
Well, I thought like death penalty as in like you die in the game on the monster.
Yeah,
do you respond with like spell or whatever?
Yeah, but we're already like, we want to be controversial and we want to like have a fucking storyline that makes you like have to think a little more like intellectually, you know, something that's not just superficial. So
well, I could guarantee you, you know, for things like that are very morally out there, that there's a lot of different sides and to that kind of moral debate. You know, we will show both sides of it, though. I can guarantee you that. You know, there will be some characters that are for or against it, and you can kind of really see that moral conflict too. So
right.
I can ask the next question actually.
All right.
Okay, I have one of those easy. Okay, the question is, why is there not a stretch goal to bring the game to Game Boy Advance? I would love to play this on my Game Boy. I have one of those like Easy Cart Flash things you can put ROMs on and it plays on your Game Boy Advance because I, for fun, make like little Game Boy and Game Boy Color ROMs and stuff just for fun, you know. But even if I put like a gigantic SD card into my like little Flash thing, you still would not be able even just to fit the soundtrack of Elysian Shadows.
And it's not even just sound. There is no way in fuck the Game Boy Advance could handle this game. Like,
but we are planning on 3DS.
There's way too much shit going on, not just like graphically, computationally. There is no way. We are already pushing the Dreamcast to like the absolute limits, and like the Dreamcast won't even be able to do some of the stuff the PC version can.
Yeah,
hopefully it's minimal. Like, we're already going to have to push the Dreamcast to its absolute fucking limits. There's no way that ES could conceivably be on anything with less resources than a Dreamcast. There's just no.
Like I said, there is plans for the 3DS. We want to do that in like Wii U, so keep that in mind. I guess that's as close as you're going to get to the GBA.
Right.
Linux versus OS X versus Windows.
Oh, God.
Linux.
Shut the fuck up.
As long as it's not Windows 8 Windows.
OS X.
Windows 7 is actually pretty sweet.
Dude, Windows 7 is sweet. I liked Windows. Windows 7 was my favorite.
Awesome. That's what I'm on right now.
After that, I went to OS X. There's a lot about Linux that pisses me off, and I feel like, and there's a lot about Windows that pisses me off.
Even being a programmer, I get pissed off at Linux.
And I feel like OS X is like the halfway point between like you have a Windows-like GUI environment, and then you still have like a POSIX shell, you know, so you still have like the Linux development environment without having to be too much of either one, which both piss me off in their own ways. Like OS X is like the middle ground of like, yeah, it pisses me off a little bit from like a little bit of each, but not too much of either one. But it still pisses me off.
Yeah.
So I'd say OS X.
See. How long had you guys been working on ES before the first Adventures in Game Development episode?
It started off as a project for my Electrical Engineering 100 course, my first engineering class.
Well, not even that. It was Miss Roundtree's Dead Sky back in the day. You guys did
that
with Blake and everyone else in high school. Back in the CS team, I remember that. Senior year in high school.
I guess that's the first, like, fucking...
The concept of what was trying to become
what was becoming. I think it didn't really become like. I think ES itself was first conceived as
probably about a year or so before that electrical engineering stuff, when you really started making a push for it. I remember that.
Right.
What's your plan going forward to make sure ES reaches 150? Doing exactly what we're doing now. Keep going like you wouldn't believe, doing these live streams, trying to stay interactive with the community. We've done tons of press releases. We've, except for Gamescom, kind of put a damper on some of that stuff. But, we still are trying really active to not just put ourselves out there, but like when people do write an article about us, pushing it on social media, responding to comments on it. Trying to let people know, we are paying attention and we are aware of our social media presence, and advertising as much as we can, selling out if we have to. I mean, that's to a point.
Well, there's a whole bunch. I don't want to tell all of our fucking battle strategy right now to undermine our attempts, but we have a lot. We have a lot of much bigger things in store right now, especially with
a lot coming down the stream.
Especially with regards to the gaming press and bigger YouTubers and things like that. On Monday, basically, it's fucking full frontal attack for us. We have a lot of things that we haven't tried and a lot of avenues that we're about to explore. So basically shit hits the fan tomorrow as far as that goes. I don't want to go into too much detail.
What IDE are you using the most? Are you compiling all platforms from one IDE, and do you like Visual Studios? Qt is what we use. We used to use Visual
Creator is what we use. Qt Creator is what we use because it's a great platform, or it's a great platform independent development environment.
I'm glad we use it on Windows and Mac now.
Honestly, I fucking love Visual Studio, and I used it all the way up until recently because I quit using it because their support for C++ 11 is absolutely fucking bullshit. I can get more C++11 support on my fucking Sega Dreamcast from 15 years ago than I can on Windows with Visual Studio. And that's when, like, I'm sorry, like, I dropped Visual Studio. It was like a breakup with a fucking ex-girlfriend in an abusive relationship. I had to let go, but, like, I truly loved Visual Studio. It has a great fucking debugger that's gotten me through, like, fucking engineering school, especially some of my assembly projects. Like, it really has a very well done debugging environment for low level stuff, and it wasn't easy for me to let go, but like, I'm sorry, if you're not gonna fucking support C++11 in 2014.
All right, here's a question for, I guess, more for Connor and Patrick and Leandro, probably Dan too. You guys, can you name one of your biggest inspirations? John Carmack maybe for the coders, but who was it for the artists and the musicians on the team?
No one in particular, honestly, because I have, as I say, I have no formal education. I'm sort of like learn from internet. There is a lot of people on the internet that are making like tutorials. Thanks to two other guys that I'm just blanking out on, but you know, there are essentially not really huge names, but there are guys that are sacrificing they are good at what they're doing, and they're sacrificing their own time to, you know, teach other people, and you know, because of them I can have a job. So you know, that's pretty cool. But no big names.
John Carmack. Oh yeah, no, you go for it, Andrew.
Oh yeah, for me it's the artists for Magic the Gathering, and their whole style.
Oh dude, they're fucking awesome, man.
Dude, some of the newer art is incredible.
It's
well, which one actually?
So great.
Specifically, which one? Because there were like a lot of them.
Kev Walker, I don't know, John Avon with the Lands. But there are too much. There are so many of them, and they're so skilled, and they can build all sorts of worlds with so that inspired me a lot.
Right.
Plus, Tang Zhu actually, he also teaches, you know, on YouTube as teaches design and creatures, concept art. That's very inspiring too.
About you, Connor, or Dan?
There's no real big names that I can think of that are in the area of level design. I usually use games themselves as reference. Like, if I'm playing a game, I'll stop and explore and be like, how do I know? How do I know I've gotten to this point subconsciously? How have they led me to this point in the game? For instance, The Last of Us, especially the remaster for the PS4.
Yep. Did you download that, by the way?
Yes. We're
all about The Last of Us right now.
It's great. It's a great source of reference. At the beginning of the game, there's kind of chaos as you're running through. Everyone's like losing their shit. You run up to like a freeway, and it's dark. There's nowhere to go, but yet you find yourself running over the edge, and then the cutscene hits where you tumble down the hill. It was only recently I was like, the only reason I know how to go there is something really subtle, but there's a street lamp pointing at the gap in the fence.
Yep.
And it blew my mind. I was like, oh my god,
subtle
it's
little
so
hints,
subtle.
like
Yes, it's so fascinating.
And they did such a good job of like conveying emotion in that game. That's my favorite thing. Is I'm all about the fucking feels, and that game had the feels.
Now, Uncharted was really good about a lot of that too. Like the different puzzles are kind of leading you through the experience without like holding your hand the whole time. It's like they put these clues out there, and like, I mean, just like in a real life situation, you kind of like absorb these different hints or, you know, areas from the environment, and like it kind of leads you there. Like your gamer sense kind of takes over.
Right. I think we're kind of digressing from the real questions. So like, to get back onto it, like someone mentioned Carmack, and Carmack is definitely a huge inspiration. Yeah. I'm inspired by a lot of people like Carmack, and a lot of like, I don't know if you look at the GPU gems or like those
all
guys,
those people that write those articles or those books.
The guys that are really like pushing the fucking, they're not like big name guys because they're not working on games themselves, but the guys who are like architecting like the GPU stuff and figuring out like who are really pushing like the envelope of graphics,
the technology.
Those guys, like the creative visionaries of like graphics today, like those guys just fucking fascinate me. Like they're geniuses, and it's not just programming wise. Like they're mathematical geniuses. They're doing like crazy fucking shit, and I like to stay up to date with that. But like I'm more fascinated and inspired by people. You know, they're all smart guys. A lot of them are like bordering autistic. You know, they just have a natural gift for this kind of stuff. But for me, it's like I'm not that kind of fucking guy. I'm not like a fucking naturally gifted motherfucker. I have to work my ass off this. I'm more inspired by people like Phil Fish and the Super Meat Boy guys, the guys from like Indie Game the movie, who like, you know, it's not that they're super fucking talented. It's not well they are. It's not that they were born gifted or anything. It's that they like worked their fucking asses off to make these games, like performing like superhuman fucking feats doing this. And it's not because like of any gift. It's because like just a fucking drive to do it. And I think like I relate a lot more emotionally to those kind of fucking people. So those are my real inspirations.
Falco, Connor, do you want some epic, really fucking epic feels? Check my screen.
What am I looking at?
Which one is your screen?
The one with pixel art on it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's like really. It's essentially I made dynamic shadows by using hate map in pixel art.
Is that baked into the bump map?
It can be.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be on the blue channel. I mean, it's well. I had to amplify that because, you know, for normal playing, like for normal gameplay, I think like this setting could be better, like, you know, very subtle.
Looks like it's inverted for the rocks there. Like it doesn't show like...
don't pay attention to rocks. I'm only working on the grass at the moment. But but you know, we could maybe, because it just, I'm changing the settings on the shader, so it's like, Falco, your job. We could like make it programmatistical that, you know, the darker it gets, the more pronounced the shadows are, and then you have like some really fucking epic feels.
All right,
like
all right, I'm on it.
Fucking good.
All right. Next question. Will Elysian Shadows have monsters that we can summon?
It's definitely an idea for one of the classes we had, specifically if we get to the point where we can do that VMU like mini game in that monster trainer class. Absolutely.
Yep. That's the whole point of that monster trainer VMU mini game and stretch goal, was to have like Tyler said, an in-game class that focuses on that aspect.
Yep. That are, I mean, you can kind of think of it almost like kind of a blend of like Blue Mage or something like that too, to where you can kind of swap your character out for that monster, or like you can summon it like a necromancer would summon like a bunch of skeletons or something, like kind of like a bunch of pets to kind of aid you in combat or something like that too.
Right.
Will the live streams be included in the Aegid bundle?
Shit. Dude, I don't know about that, because these live streams are like 2 hours long. It's gonna have to be like fucking 10 DVDs long if we do that.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to see how much that costs. I don't know. I cannot commit to that.
Plus, you know, the big part of the live stream is actually like interacting with the audience. Like, you know, you're asking questions, we answer them, and
thank you, Jacob.
So, I think like watching the live stream non-live, it's sort of takes away from the experience.
I have no idea how to pronounce that. Okay.
Let's see. How often do you use NES sprites for testing stuff? And I do it all the time. I mean, I know, you know, we've got a ton of different art assets and all kinds of stuff. But like, if I need like something that, you know, isn't an asset right now, like I'll go, we've like ripped all of like Chrono Trigger sprites, or I'll go grab something from like a Genesis game or something like that, just to put it in as a placeholder for the time being until either Patrick has time to make it one of our own assets, or like, you know, Leandro has time to rework one of the tiles I was having issues with. Like, you know, more recently we've tried to not include that kind of stuff in our videos, because, you know, it is not our property to be doing that with, but, you know, internally I use that kind of stuff all the time.
Every time I see guys using non-ES assets, it sort of makes my heart bleed, and it makes me very, very sad.
Yeah, I do my best not to. I mean, we have a ton of stuff now, you know, but back in the day when Patrick first started doing pixel art, yeah, they're like, if you remember like the Chrono Trigger like church and cathedral, you know, that was because we didn't have anything like that. We didn't have any interiors, so.
Yeah, we had no interiors. I started with the exteriors. I mean, yeah, it's normal, like, but, you know, we're slowly building up the assets, and right now it's sort of like small on the objects, I guess, but, you know, we're gonna make it one day or the other.
Somebody asked, you said in the last live stream that you wanted to continue to make more games after Elysian Shadows. What kind of game would you think you would make? Would it be another 2D RPG, or would you go for something different? Really, I think it would probably be almost like a kind of expansion, like little episodes of ES. I think we would probably do that for a while, like expanding content, especially if like user-created content really takes off with like including the toolkit or something like that with the release. I really don't know. Again, like that kind of comes back to like every, you know, good idea we've had, we've incorporated into Elysian Shadows. We haven't we don't dare think beyond that because this is such a big deal for us, both emotionally and everything else. So.
Well, we have other ideas.
Yeah, I mean we do.
I don't
absolutely.
think we should talk about it right now because Elysian Shadows is the thing.
Spoilers. Yeah.
Someone said
there are other ideas. I'll just say that.
Patrick, favorite animes.
Oh jeez, there's like so many. Ghost in the Shell, especially the original movie. Like I just recently watched the movie from '95, and it's just so. The cinematography is so fucking amazing. Like because normally, especially nowadays, like I don't like slice of life animes, but I really like the action ones. But the Ghost in the Shell is like very calm, but there's like so much tension in it. So it's like almost therapeutically calm, but again, it's really something cool. And then No Game No Life from the most recent ones. Mushishi is really amazing. Mushishi is like therapeutic. It's very therapeutic experience, like very calming. Please focus.
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oddly not. Like I really don't like Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Guys, we lost 20 viewers while I was pissing. What did you do?
Talking about anime, maybe.
Oh, that's why.
Somebody asked the question. We don't digress.
Yeah. There's like a lot of anime. FLCL was interesting, but I wouldn't call it my favorite. Like, the problem is that the way I look at media is and not only anime, like movies, games, everything. Like I look at it as in terms like what kind of experience can I pull of it, what kind of ideas can I keep from it, like sort of steal and hoard. And I have like I have lots of text documents when I just keep notes on different things.
Yeah. It's like playing different retro games for us or different modern games for us. Like it's inspirations you decompose or deconstruct.
Yeah, everything is an inspiration. You can pretty much name any anime that came up in like recent 10 years, and I would either know about it or watched it. Same goes for video games. Same goes for fantasy books and recently sci-fi books. So even if I haven't like experienced something, I at least read about it because it's so important for artists and for designer to experience as much as possible to like broaden your perspective and to be able to
keep an open mind.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. Larry Page actually asked us a question.
This guy fucking commented on YouTube. Let me call him out because it's a douche move. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I think I like watching you guys develop the game much more enjoyable than actually playing the game. I'm like, wait, you fucking have played Elysian Shadows? You've played the game? Because I haven't done that yet. That's a little fucking audacious of you to say that, considering like you've never fucking played the game yet.
If you enjoy watching this, I guarantee you'll enjoy playing the game.
Well, let me say this. If we don't get funded, you won't be doing either.
So Larry Page asked, "Hey Falco, I honestly miss your brother. Do you see him sometimes or talk?" He recently moved actually halfway across the United States, so
he lives in
probably
Colorado.
won't see him for a while. But we did see him all the time. I mean, I talked to him on G-Talk. We ran into him last week. So
he's just not in a place in life where he's interested in taking part in this project, and there's not really much we can do. Like, I'm done fucking begging him to work on Elysian Shadows when like everyone else here is contributing and like
they want to be here.
They want to fucking be here. It's not fair that like I'm fucking begging Marcel to be here and like fucking giving him all these chances when we've kicked people off this team for doing fucking more work than Marcel's done. So like
Falco, how is your physics engine going to work on the Dreamcast? Is the Super H4 fast enough?
Well, first of all, there's a layer of abstraction to where all of the vector and matrix operations for the physics engine are actually using the SIMD instructions on the SH4 for like the vector and matrix transforms and shit, which is like exceptionally fucking marginally faster than just doing it in C. So basically, that's part of my plan. Is the physics engine? First of all, is very well optimized. It's all the contact generation and shit like that is very optimized for like cache coherency. There's no dynamic memory allocation or anything like that, and all of the math intensive stuff should be hardware accelerated with the SIMD instructions on the Dreamcast. So we're gonna have to see, but like it's gonna be some low level optimized fucking voodoo shit. Is my plan.
Coherency of the cage.
Coherency of the cage.
Falco, what is your name is badass? What's your brother's name? His name is Marcel.
Marcel, Marcus, and Andrew are my 3 brothers. I'm the 4th and oldest brother, and best looking.
Also, Falco, recommendations for linear algebra books.
Oh God. Well, actually, I have no recommendations. Don't use a textbook, because the thing is, and like especially at the university, you take linear algebra, and like the attitude of the entire class is, why the fuck would we ever use this? Because you take a class or read a book, and it's so abstract is the problem with this mathematics, that it has no connection to reality, and you have no idea why the fuck you'd ever need to use it. So actually, I recommend you get like a graphics book or a physics book, to where you're actually learning the math because it's applicable, and you're able to see like why it's applied and why you use it. That's really how you learn it better, is because you're applying it like that. And like when I took linear algebra at the university, I was like, I had really like nowhere near like the grasp that I have now, because it was just fucking like solving fucking reduced row echeloning some matrices on a paper for a test, and I'm like, why the fuck do I even care? You know, incorporate it into game development. That's the trick to being good at math. If you suck at math like me, is it has to be applicable.
Find a way to make it like relate and how to understand.
Right.
What's actually happening. How did you all come up with the name for Elysian Shadows? Yeah.
That was actually like a
very.
It was a very fucking long process. At first, we were going to be Shadows of Elysium. That was the original one, because it was kind of like Secret of Mana, Shadows of Elysium. Mm-hmm. And the way that we thought it out is there's an oxymoron in that fucking title, because Elysian is like an adjective
paradise,
term.
It's heaven.
Yeah, it's like mythologically a paradise.
Or through different religions and stuff, and then we didn't want to be like Secret of Mana, Shadows of Elysium. We wanted to be a little bit different, and it seemed to flow better being Elysian Shadows.
But I mean, it's a very storyline relevant name, like the Shadows of Paradise. Like that's really like, and especially if you look at the screenshots, like on one hand there's like this lush overworld, and on the other hand there's almost this fucking like creepy, brooding like underground ruins like aspect of this game, and that's like that's something we wanted to emphasize with the title.
Let's see. Reading through some of these questions. When are we going to see a reappearance of Steel Version 69?
I don't know why everyone wants me to come back, because first of all, the Sega Dreamcast is dead as shit. Why the fuck would I want to waste my time covering a Dreamcast RPG?
Is that good?
Yeah. The cautionary tale, do a lot of backups. I just had to restore from backups, otherwise I would have to redo all of the normal maps. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah, I overwrote. I only need to make like 2 tiles, but I accidentally merged layers that I shouldn't have, and basically shit done got fucked.
Somebody said, let me select this question. I dropped this question on your latest AEGIT earlier today. I was researching on entity component systems that I was wondering, how do you have your ECS set up in the ES engine, assuming that you use one? Yeah, that's how we have it set. I mean, we do create engine entities and attach components. I mean, we got lighting components, renderable components, animation components. I mean, it's modeled after Unity in that sense. I mean, that's what it is.
Right. Yeah. It's more or less it is architected like Unity internally. I mean, instead of a game object, we call them entities, and like you have add rigid body, add warp component, add collidable component, add an animation component, add a renderable. I mean, there's not really much else to say about it. It is handled very much like Unity. I think internally in the engine we have different subsystems, and like there's a collision system that is updating and managing like the collision context and the collision components, and there's like a warp system that's checking for warping and stuff like that. So I don't know like much more how to describe it than that. That's pretty much the gist of it.
Yep. Looking at your statistics on YouTube, how much of an increase on views have you guys gotten lately?
It's funny because like usually we're like, oh yeah, we got a new subscriber, but dude, like we're so like into Kickstarter right now, and like to a little bit lesser extent Steam Greenlight, that like
Yeah.
A new fucking subscriber like blowing up on YouTube means fucking nothing to us right now. You know, like I'm just like skipping over those emails. I don't even know. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure we have had like a huge spike and we are getting a lot of like new subscribers and a lot of new press for our YouTube channel. But like, my mind is so somewhere else that I don't even know. I don't know. Like, getting big on YouTube is not my top priority right now. But yeah, I think we have had like a pretty sizable.
Yeah, I mean, we get those like coffee reports YouTube or Facebook sends us about like new likes, new shares, new viewers, how many people we've reached organically, and it's all been positive growth. So I mean, that's awesome. That's what we want to see. Somebody said Connor was skipped when it came to inspirations. Connor, are you there? You're muted, man.
I think he died.
I'm right here. I've been here the whole time.
Did you want to talk about your inspirations we were talking about earlier? Because we talked to Patrick and Dan and Andrew about like art or music or sci-fi shows or anything like that that's inspiring to your work.
Yeah, so I'm trying to learn to do art, even though I'm not an artist. But my favorite artist would be Patrick can probably pronounce this properly, but it's a Polish artist named Zdzisław Beksinski.
Zdzisław Beksinski.
Yeah, whatever you say.
Yes.
And then I also really like Tony Taka. But for music, Akira Yamaoka is my all-time favorite musician. For electronic stuff, and then for like more bands like metal, rock, and stuff, there's a Greek musician named Sakis Tolis who plays in the band called Rotting Christ, and he plays like every instrument, and he's just like this absolutely insanely great musician. That's probably like him and Akira Yamaoka are my two big inspirations.
Didn't you get compared to that last guy? Somewhere in the Kickstarter comments, somebody compared your music to one of your inspirations like that?
Somebody compared me to Nobuo Uematsu, which is...
I remember you choosing over this.
Hey, thank you, Joshua Hubbard, dude. Appreciate it, man.
Somebody asked, how long will you keep this live stream up? I need to go to sleep and I want to see my questions asked. Ask your questions. I don't know if I'm going to still be doing this by the time you get up.
So you wasted a question like asking that instead of... I don't... Well, we have 105 plus viewers right now, so like we'll keep going for a while. Most likely. The questions are still rolling in. Hey, by the way, real quick, someone on Facebook just asked me, like, we talked about having like an epic house party that we're streaming when we hit 150K. And he's like, dude, I live like sort of close by. Like, is it open to like outside people? Yeah, absolutely. If you live like, if you fucking fly your ass down to Alabama and crash on the couch, by all means, come to the party.
Yeah. Let's see. How long does it take to grow your beard? This is about 8 hours. Oh.
I just shaved. No, way the fuck not long enough because it's a pain in the ass to keep fucking shaving when you're trying to code.
God, I'm just glad that both my old job and obviously this one, like I don't have to stay clean shaven. Ain't nobody got time for that. Usually you can tell like if we've been pulling up like all-nighters or like 3 or 4 days because it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, like my beard length in Adventures in Game Development is very much like it very much shows you like how fucked up I am mentally in my sleep cycle. Because usually I like to keep it at about here, but especially like in chapter 27, you can see it's like fucking ugh. So if I'm well shaven, like assume I fucking have slept.
No, you know who was the best at portraying like you're losing your mind working on something in chapter
Leandro.
Like he's working on that pixel thing, and you can tell that he's just like.
Dude, I know. I felt really
almost out of it.
It's growing.
That's why I liked it, dude. If you guys haven't seen chapter 27, I think it
was awesome.
I mean, it's and the thing is, like, we didn't plan any of that. Well, we don't plan Adventure Game Development, but at least we know, hey, we're gonna make a video. Like chapter 27 was like, dude, we have so much shit going on. Just like pick up the camera whenever we get a chance. Other than that, fuck it. Like just 100% like unplanned. Like this is fucking really what happened.
Somebody said, would you sell your game to EA for $2.7 million? No.
Nope.
Not enough.
No, I don't think anybody could pay me enough to just hand over our IP like that and just wash my hands of the project, or even like sell to somebody else, but like make it their creative vision instead.
Here's a piece of my soul. Please fucking molest it. I don't think.
No.
Oh yeah, IP. Fuck no. Like if someone would take over the magic system from ES, I would fucking kill them.
I'm glad to know you got my back like that. Let's see. God, who works the most? What kind of question is that? Everybody.
Okay, so no, it's actually really important. So let me tell you something. If you ever find yourself having to ask this question, then it means that either there's lots of like big problem with you or with your team.
Yeah.
I would just say that.
Dude, like, there's a lot of, like, comments we get. Like, someone on the stream the other day is like, oh, I don't think Patrick's as committed as you guys are. I'm like, what the
You
fuck,
have
man?
no idea
Are
what
you
he
like
does.
trying to like subtly like rip apart the team from like YouTube? I'm like, damn, dude, that's fucking dark. You sack of shit.
And no one knows that he's over here having a panic attack, staying up just like the rest of us. Like we have to like jump on Skype and help keep each other company to like keep ourselves from going insane. Like
Whoever
just because
works
it's
the
not
most.
on YouTube doesn't mean that's not what's happening.
Plus the other thing, like let me actually show you guys, because you know adventures in game development have like proper structure. Like, you know, we're making new stuff and we talk about it. Do you know what I did for past like 5 months or something? Like, hey, I gonna show you what I did for past
God,
5 months. I mean, look. This is all I did. Like, it's the same thing over and over again. Like 5,000 grass tiles, or like rocks and buildings.
Hey, I haven't seen that tree before.
Yeah, that's 3 without normal maps. That's 3 without normal maps, and I'm gonna add another one. So the idea is that we won't gonna have solitite forest like as before, the wall of trees. Now we're gonna have each tree individually, because I figured a way to do this actually for.
Hey, is that tree fucking center aligned still?
What do you mean? Center line.
Bottom of it, is it center aligned to where you need half elevation still? Because I'll fucking kill you.
No, it starts from the start on the.
Okay.
But I still need half of the elevation. Like
I know. I'm on it. It'll be after the Kickstarter.
So you know, guys, the thing, like, why wasn't I on Adventures in Game Development? Because my part would be only like, I did more grass. You know, that's not exciting. That's not what you want to watch Adventures in Game Development for. When I did something exciting, like the new normal mapping, like we made entire fucking chapter about it because it was such a big thing. But in art, generally, art is like a lot of the same, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's the same with me. I'll show you maybe one screenshot of the ice ruins, but I've been working on them for, I don't know, a long time.
Since you were here, yeah.
It's like,
come on, like, what the
20 work hours?
What the fuck is so interesting about programming? Like, we've managed to glamorize it. You can tell.
Yeah, but you know, in programming, you can fuck shit up, and you can have Julian exploding because you did something.
I guess that's true. I mean, like, we're just a bunch of dudes sitting in our underwear who look like complete shit, like showing off code, and people still watch it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
The only time I've made it onto Adventures in Game Development was when I got it running on Google Glass, and even still, that was only the back of my head. So.
I just loved Falco's reaction to that in the latest episode. He was just like, "Oh my god!"
Like that was face of a man that's so future.
You can see forever. Well, you continue to make Adventures in Game Development related videos content after ES is finished. I don't see why not. I mean,
after ES is finished. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we'll still be working on other content, or we may be working on some other project or something. I don't see why we would stop.
Yeah, you gotta understand.
It's the same part of our lives, just like ES is. I mean,
when you grow up, like literally, I fucking grew up on the internet, fucking doing this. Like, I don't know, it's like become a part of me in like some fucked up way. I don't know that I could ever just like walk away from it.
We were on YouTube before there was, I mean, we used to have to upload stuff in 15-minute segments. You know, we were there before you could monetize things. We were there before YouTube ads were even a thing. We were one of the first like game development things out there. I mean, it's crazy.
And we were like 12.
What happened to James and Jared? I'll let you know.
Oh, God. They quit. Like, of their own free will, they quit.
They had other things going on in life.
I don't think they quit at a time when I was balls deep working on the engine and toolkit, and it was very clear that I don't think they saw us progressing, and I don't think that they shared like our creative vision. I think they were discouraged because they didn't see any gameplay progression, and they didn't really understand the merit of why the fucking engine and the toolkit needed to happen first. So in their mind, like, we're just sitting there getting nothing done, and I think that discouraged them, and they quit. So that's what happened. They quit. Not really much to say about it.
Let's see. What is the blue liquid you're drinking? Who's drinking something blue?
This is ether.
Jesus, we have a problem. First of all, where did you get that in my house?
It wakes me up in the morning. It's a nice compliment to the stimulants that keep me up.
NES will there be player housing? I'd love to be able to build my own house, display items on the walls.
Yeah, dude. There's a tier in the Kickstarter for that. It's like the fucking 300 tier or something.
I mean,
we
they're probably
already
talking about like actual, like in game for every player, not necessarily just a reward like that. Like,
Oh.
yes,
Oh.
I would like to do that. I mean, I was a fan of like the hideouts, like in Pokemon and stuff like that, or like even like Monster Hunter allows you to create like decorations for your house. Or more recently, like WildStar does the same kind of thing.
I think that would be a big thing if when we support user-generated content. Like, I think that would tie into that.
Especially what was Phantasy Star Universe actually did a pretty cool job about that too, where like you could go visit like other players' rooms and see like either their decorations or like trophies they had and like display them and stuff. That'd be awesome.
Right. That would tie into the user-generated content stretch goal, though. Like it would have to tie into that.
It would. Is it better to work in teams or by yourself?
Oh my God! Fuck teams.
What?
I'm just kidding, dude. It depends on the team.
It depends on the team. Depends on the project.
Like, I've met so many fucking jaded motherfuckers who like show up for like a week and then quit and don't share our drive, don't share our ambition. Like, there were a couple years on ES where like back when I was with Marcel and Peter, where like it was just a fucking spectator sport where I was doing fucking everything and people just watched. So it really made me bitter about teams, but like now at the same time, I don't think I would be able to keep my fucking sanity without working with these guys. So it just depends on the people, you know. If you have people who are genuinely as driven and motivated and as fucked in the head as you are that you can work with, then yeah, a team is like a beautiful thing that you can lean on. But unfortunately, 99% of this population does not share that kind of drive and passion.
I mean, put it this way, it's taken us this long to get a team. Like, everyone that's here on the team has been here for quite some time now. I mean, it took us this long to find these other like-minded individuals. And, you know, most of them we found from, like, our YouTube series. It's not people that live here, you know, and we've done...
And that's why they're all over the world, you know. It's because, like, we can't find people like them locally, you know. It's only because we've been able to reach out to, like, such a large population with our YouTube series that we were able to find them, you know. If it weren't for that, we would probably be fucked right now.
8 billion motherfuckers on the planet and you cannot still find the right ones. Annoying. But yeah, it's like working alone until you find the proper team. Like, finding proper team is a goal, then someone that you can really work with, it's awesome. But if you cannot, like, if there is something wrong in the team, whatever, just fuck it. Because I've been freelancing before I started working full-time on this. I've been freelancing for like over 2 years, and honestly, fuck it. Like it's just so hard to just let's drop next question, please. Next question. It's so fucking depressing. Like, I'm losing my actual words, my linguistic part of brain. It's shutting down. That's how sad.
Jesus. All right, next fucking.
Besides gameplay, how in depth, deep, and feely is the plot, story, and characters of Elysian Shadows? Very, very.
Was that the actual question?
Yes.
Yeah, adequately, I say.
I mean, I think we've said it before. We're like, you know, we have kind of like we do have a part of the story that is linear. I mean, there is a cohesive beginning and end to the story, but the gameplay is not linear like that. You know, we wanted to avoid like an overworld map like what the older Final Fantasies did, where like you have to travel to these different areas. You know, you're seeing these different cultures, you're interacting with these like deep party members and things like that. I mean, for people who want to spend the time instead of like rushing through like the 40-hour or so like main story and then that's it. I mean, you can expand the story through side quests with these other characters, or like, you know, interact with like these different cultures and stuff, to where like if you want to, you can get lost in the game. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to make it really feel like these cultures and areas are vibrant and alive, and like it's a place you can go to.
And like I keep saying, like, it is all about the fucking feels for me. Like, as with any work of art, nothing, like, no video game or movie or book holds my fucking interest unless like I am emotionally fucking invested in it. And like that is everything I want to do with ES. Like, that's why I'm working as a game developer. You know, if it weren't for that, I would be a fucking engineer with my day job, because I love fucking engineering. It's that emotional connection that you can make through art creatively that, like, that's why I want to be a fucking game developer. That's what I need in this game. Like, we're a bunch of dark, brooding motherfuckers who clearly have issues, like, and you know, like, we have shit we want to say, like, and I think Elysian Shadows is an outlet for that creatively. So, like, it is very fucking important to me to, like, have a very, like, in-depth plot and, like, characters that are relatable and things like that. I mean, like, I can't tell you how seriously I take that.
Somebody says, huge congrats on breaking 100,000 on Kickstarter. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a huge mile marker for us too.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Like, I never know whether I should say thank you, like, or whether I should say don't thank me yet. Thank me when it's done. Like,
Yeah, that too. I mean, we're not done
still
yet.
Part of my mind, it's like, you know, I'm not sitting here fucking celebrating. I'm like, okay, we got 100K. We got 50 more K to go. Get the fuck back to work, guys.
Yep.
I don't know. It's intense.
I think bump mapping would be a lot easier than a full commercial game back in 1999 because nobody made pixel art games for consoles. But despite that, I'm concerned about AO because it was first pulled off in Crysis in 2007.
Okay, first of all, he's absolutely right. First of all, I also want to say if you have any fucking preconception that there will be ambient occlusion on a Dreamcast, that's because one of the other team members who has no idea what the fuck they're talking about told you that. There is no physical way to pull off ambient occlusion on the Dreamcast hardware.
I was only
Make no mistake, I would never lie about that. It should. The hardware support is there for bump mapping, and yes, you're right. There are more tools today to take advantage of that, and it was very new technology back then, you know. So if it truly is something that can work in a realistic in-game environment, yes, we should be able to do that today. But ambient occlusion, yes, is too new and requires a programmable pipeline. That will not happen. Bump mapping, yes, it's possible.
Falco, hypothetical question. If I would make ambient occlusion map as a separate texture that will go on top, like just one of the channels, could you
multi-texture, multi-pass render it?
Yeah, could you like show it like make it so like you know it will essentially be a shadow that shows whenever the light doesn't shine on it, and if you shine the light on it, then it will show, and that essentially would be ambient occlusion.
I know what you mean, and it's physically possible, but we already have to multi-pass render every tile twice. One for the normal, for the main diffuse map, the color map, and then one for the bump map on the Dreamcast. So that's already double the poly count on the Dreamcast. I don't know if we're gonna have the vertex throughput to do 3 render passes per fucking.
That's where you end up faking it, you know, through like the blue channel, the normal maps, or something like that. It's
yeah, I mean, ambient occlusion, as I said, ambient occlusion isn't really a big deal. It's very subtle effect that we don't really need. And then depth. So you know, the depth map that I'm using in the sprite lamp, we can actually just mash it with the blue channel on normal map. So as long as we have normal maps, then we can just easily do it. And even if we weren't gonna have normal maps, then we can just pre-bake the assets, because even pre-baked they do quite.
Right. All right, we'll discuss this later. We lost one viewer talking about that.
Patrick Crazy Polak, can you try to make US or UK accent? Your Russian Polish accent is way too funny.
He was doing a fucking Jamaican accent earlier.
Yeah.
No, don't try that.
It wasn't.
But that would be extremely racist, and that was really bad accent.
That wasn't fucking. How is that racist? I don't understand. Like different cultures sound different. Like imitating that is not racist in my mind. I probably sound like a redneck to most people. If you fucking imitate that, it's not racist. It's like fucking, oh yeah, that's what I sound like.
See, I know, like, people get so easily offended on the internet that I prefer not to take my chance. Like, even if I'm gonna swear, there are some people that are bitching about it, that I'm using the word fuck too much.
Some people are bitching about all my swear.
Well, I mean, like, we've made our subscriber fan base through pissing people off on the internet, so I think that's why I don't feel bad for being that audacious.
Love us or hate us.
Somebody says, "Greetings, Mr. Gurgis. I would like to know if you have what kind of chances do you think I have if I live in a country like Switzerland who doesn't have any game development companies or schools? Should I move to America for this kind of stuff?"
Oh, don't. First of all, you should move.
Do you mind if I'm gonna steal the question?
You should move to America.
Because I grew. Yeah, sure.
Motherfucker, I will fucking kill your ass. Yeah, you can answer it in just a second. Don't worry about game development schools. I have, like, look at what I'm doing. I have never taken a fucking class on game development in my entire fucking life. I went to a traditional college. I have a degree in computer engineering. I'm working on my master's in GPU computing, but I have yet to even make a graphical project working on my master's. It's all scientific work. You do not need to go to school for game development, and I suggest you don't go to school for game development, because you can get a traditional degree in computing, and I can go fucking work anywhere, including in game development. Like, you're limiting yourself by getting a game development-centric degree, for one. They tend to cost a shitload more for another.
Yes.
And, like, Yeah, I don't recommend it. Get a traditional computer science or computer engineering education.
For AAA studios, I mean, like game programmers or things like that, or like a dime a dozen. It's like GameStop employees to hate on a previous employer I had. I mean, they know there'd be just tons of people that want to work there. I mean, they have their pick. It's an employer's market for that kind of thing. So it's better to be more specialized or to take a programming degree like that and then get into game development, because you're like Falco said, you're limiting yourself otherwise, and like they're not going to.
Don't even worry about it.
Speaking as someone who actually grew up in a country when there were no development schools or even development houses, because for those that don't know, even though I'm from Poland, I grew up in Cyprus. I spent half my life in Cyprus, a really small island south of Greece, north of Egypt, and there are no actual game studios there. There are no game anything, to be honest. At least when I was growing up, there wasn't. Internet. I learned everything through internet. I was working through internet. Even now, I'm working with people through internet, or my income was through internet, or my training was through internet. So you don't need any sort of like learning or academic experience if you want to actually start working. Because I actually started working in game dev without any experience, just learning through internet. So.
Hey, someone says on YouTube that they're watching us on their Xbox One. They can fucking do that.
Yeah, there's up for that.
I didn't know you could do that. Well, shit. So support our Kickstarter, because one of our stretch goals is to get ES on Xbox One. Broseph.
Yeah, that'd be fucking sweet.
Clarification: are the development notebook add-ons and the digital design document separate items? Yes. We have a design document that's like the overarching blueprint of our design as far as story, characters, inspirations, everything like that. And the development notebook is like the personal notebooks that like Falco and I carry, that we have not just our notes, but like actually working out like the mathematical formulas that are part of this behavior or part of this shader or something like that. That's not necessarily in the design document. It's more like
what are we talking about? I completely zoned out. I was checking YouTube comments.
You can see the currently answered question.
Actually, I can't. I never see it.
It's the development notebook add-on and the digital design document. Are they separate items?
Yes, they are separate items.
That's what I said.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Tyler answered that. I mean, like the design document is more like gameplay, storyline, influences creatively, locations, cultures. Whereas like our dev notebooks is fucking like math and code. Like those are fundamentally different things. So basically, what I'm saying is we need some more money if you want the other one. Yeah, no, they're separate.
Caitlin Hatcher, which thank you for watching our live stream.
Hey, and we're hanging out with her.
Yes, and her husband. You guys have really positively influenced so many people and created a dedicated fan base. Did you ever dream that your project and video series would make such an impact?
Fuck no.
No.
Fuck no.
When we set out to do this, I had, just the fact that we wanted to create a game, I had no idea. I mean, we see comments on Kickstarter, on YouTube, Facebook, people telling us that we've literally, like, fundamentally changed their lives. And every time that happens, I'm just like, oh my God. Like, it's surreal that, like, I mean, these people, like, give us like these heartfelt messages or comments or what have you, and I'm like, I guess like one guy on the Kickstarter comment said something about like his degree in like quantum physics or something. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, it really, and like it's something we've had to grow into, because like at first, we didn't.
It's almost too personal. Like,
yeah, like we didn't set out to like inspire, and like I think like especially like recently, like I've really realized like I feel like I almost have like an obligation to the community,
a responsibility.
Like, yeah, to like help other projects and help people who've helped us. Like, I'm kind of a sucker for that kind of stuff. Like, I really want like you guys to succeed. I want to help with your Kickstarter. Like, that's why I want to be transparent with like, oh my God, every time I see a Kickstarter fail, especially like I see a friend who's like rushing into a Kickstarter, like you can't tell them, dude, like you're gonna fail. Don't fucking do that. But like you just feel like obligated, like emotionally fucking connected, like trying to set them straight. Like, dude, fucking think about this first. You got to build up an audience. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I want to help now, and I don't.
That's why like a lot of people ask about our experiences and the fact that we quit our jobs and stuff. I'm like, we're crazy. Don't do that. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, yes, be passionate. Yes, have that drive. And take some of our other advice. But like, we are absolutely crazy. So we have to be careful with like that kind of like social responsibility we have. Knowing that like this kind of stuff is influential to our audience.
Right. Have a fallback plan.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a fallback plan. I mean, we've thought of different things.
No, we don't. What the fuck is that fallback?
It's the one sentence of It's the living under a bridge and still developing. Yes, that's the fallback plan.
Oh, yeah, that's fallback plan. Let me just like hold on. Sometimes I get this comment and it kind of bothers me a little bit. WM Master 777 on YouTube. Hey, I wanted to say that I don't really like how much you're using the word fucking. It doesn't sound friendly to me. I'm sorry if you misinterpret like my excitement and like my dysfunction as like not being friendly or not being pleasant, because yes, I swear a lot, but like I assure you it's just because like I get really into what I'm talking about, and yes, I fucking cuss like a sailor and I can't help it. And like I get into this, like I've tried to fucking consciously censor myself, but I can't, and I apologize if you take that the wrong way, but there's not much I can do, dude. I'm sorry. I've been up all fucking night, like working. I'm just trying to be real with you guys here, and if you want to crucify me for swearing, you know, and there's a lot of people like, I'm not backing your project because you cuss a lot in your videos, and I'm like, you know, if you are judging our project and backing us because of our personalities or because of how we interact with people rather than by the merit of our own work, then all right, fine. I ain't even mad.
No, it's actually.
Let me say, I'm not trying to be unpleasant.
To be fair, like, that's only something that native speakers say, which is really interesting because, really funny thing, in Polish, I basically don't swear. Like, I don't swear at all. But I don't know, like, in English doesn't, like, it doesn't. Yeah, in English it doesn't faze me. Like, I use swearing in English as emphasis. Like, as in like Margaret, following word is in bold. And that's something that I use in Polish only, like very personal circle of friends, never in public. But like that's the way I use swearing, as in like, you know, underlying the word that's going. And I think that's fair because, you know, in the end, cuss words, swearings are integral part of our language. They were in it.
American way.
Hey,
I mean, not even America, it's a human nature. It was like that since the very beginning. It's
real quick, I'm getting YouTube comments on my phone. The Victorian, not to seem like an airhead, but where do we ask questions? It's a pain in the ass. Like, it's not just you. You actually have to go to the video on Google+.
Yes.
The link there and watch it there. You can't ask it on YouTube. That. Oh, really? Yeah, it's not you.
Yeah, I sent link on the YouTube.
It's pain in the ass.
I sent link to YouTube, so no problems. Whoever's watching this on YouTube, they should get the link there.
Okay, good. Oh, yeah, I see you. Oh, wow. How about you?
Somebody said, if you stop using the word fucking, I would be thoroughly upset.
I know. So like, imagine the moral dilemma here when, like, you know, I already innately cuss like a fucking sailor because I'm into this project and that's how I convey emotion. And then half of our fans, at least, probably most of them, are like, don't you fucking dare stop cussing, you know? And then people are like, why are you cussing? And I'm just like, I can't please everyone, homie. I can't.
Two things. One, someone asked if your Kickstarter doesn't get the amount of funding you need, can you extend the time? No. Once you launch, Kickstarter does not allow you to change the time.
Nope, we are just straight up fucked. Nope, there's not anything we can do.
Secondly, Connor, are you playing Harry Potter? Is that happening right now?
Damn
Is that
straight,
Really? I don't see Harry Potter.
Yeah, he's loaded back in.
Oh shit, son, where are you?
He's alt-tabbing. He's trying to look like he's working, but he's alt-tabbing to Harry Potter.
Are you on the castle grounds, fucking Hagrid's house? What are you doing?
It's the start of Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh shit! Look at fucking Sirius Black.
Well. If Kickstarter works out, how are you planning to get your non-U.S. members to the U.S. considering visa issues and stuff? Will you have ES Studio registered officially? Are all members okay with moving to the U.S. to start a studio with you? Are your backer a huge fan base? Rebel Coder.
Hey, Rebel Coder, by the way, thank you for the contribution. Really appreciate it.
You know, Falco and I do live here in Alabama. We've got already a studio and all that kind of stuff lined up. I believe we've converted Dan to the American way. We're trying to convince, you know, obviously we have enough funding, we have to be able to pay for everybody to live. You know, we'd love to have Patrick or Leandro or Connor move here. I know, Connor, you're still doing school and stuff, but the nice thing about the way that it is now is, like, once we get funded, you know, we could still work the exact same way that we are. We don't have to have people here. I mean, that's just, we're so used to, like, working remotely like this. I mean, you know, I could go visit family in Ohio or something for a week, and it wouldn't mean that I'm just, like, off the map and I'm just not doing anything. You know, I can still push my code and everything else and Skype with everybody. I mean, it's just our workflow.
Yeah, guys, blame American visa restrictions because, like, I could come in a heartbeat. Like, I have no issue whatsoever. I was a migrant for half of my life. I don't give a fuck where do I live. But, US doesn't want me. What can I say?
Yeah, we'll just smuggle you in. We'll have to use part of
I actually have to pay, that's something really audacious because, back in, before European Union, I used to travel around Europe and, I was getting visas and stuff like that. The fact that I have to pay more than it is, monthly wage for someone in Poland, that's how expensive visas are for US. That's how much American hates Polish people. I have to pay more than, medium living wage here in Poland, even to apply for visa, and I can be rejected. So it's not even guaranteed that they're gonna get the visa. It's pretty fucked up system, honestly.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to say that even though you're right that we can still continue using our current system, using Skype and the internet, when I was there for a month, I did see the advantages of being local with whiteboard walls and being face to face. There are some advantages, but even though a month's not that long of a time, it did seem a lot longer, and plus I can stay there for a maximum of 3 months at a time. I'm totally willing to travel and stay for 3 months to come back and then to do it all over again.
Had to get more vodka.
Yeah. I think the lack of sleep is probably what lended to that feeling like it was a lot longer than what it should have been.
Probably.
Dude, I'm depressed, man. When Daniel was here, they were three bros. We'd fucking work every day and push each other, and now it's just Tyler and me again, and we're
it's just me and Falco's ugly
we're
ass.
Oh shit. We walk a lonely road now.
Let's see. What do you hate seeing in other people's code?
Oh God.
Spaghetti code, everything on one line, not proper bracket usage, not proper formatting or tabs. Oh my God.
I hate seeing
semicolons in Lua.
Oh, you can tell what the Lua Scripts Falco's written.
I just hate seeing shitty object-oriented design in C++ or blatant abuse of C++'s polymorphic features and things like that. I'm very particular about my C++ code.
Why didn't you guys go for a longer funding period on Kickstarter, say 60 days?
It's actually statistically shown that Kickstarters who go for 60 days don't do as well traditionally as for 30 days because it makes you look a lot more desperate, and it's shown that after about 30 days you basically flatline. If you weren't able to do it in that amount of time, then you're not going to be able to do it more. It's we didn't want to do that. We wanted to do it right, like every other Kickstarter, and basically 30 days is that sweet spot,
Yeah, basically there's if you
Dude, I'm watching Harry Potter, man. I'm just
that's when you're watching Connor play Harry Potter.
There is actually specific curve that most of the Kickstarters follow, and especially
and it's basically 30 days.
Yeah, and there is always this flat line period in the middle, and we try to combat it as much as we can, by doing live streams like that.
We are past the flat period. We're on the upswing.
Yeah, plus those games come as well. So we were fighting, brothers. We were fighting uphill battle.
Yeah. Even Kickstarter themselves recommend 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah, because they know statistically, that's basically what it is.
Yep.
Oh, someone just asked this question again. Okay, good. Never mind. It got bumped. If statement.
Jesus.
Wasn't even a fucking question. All right, noted. Oh no, that question's back on top.
Patrick, you have a lot of proof that you're a part of the team. There would be no problem in getting a VSIF EST Mixit request for you as a team member.
Yeah, see, the problem of how actually visa system works in Poland, I mean, at least from the Polish perspective for the US, the thing is that the law basically assumes that I'm going to be illegal immigrant. So I have to convince them that I'm not going to run away in the US and hide like a Mexican or something like that. So,
You're not? Well, you're not. Yeah, you're not living on my fucking taxes, so no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, dude. I enjoy living, I was an immigrant. The guys, you have no fucking clue how hard and stressful and just shitty it is to be immigrant in country. You're being treated like shit by the law itself. And I was legal immigrant all of the time. So I cannot imagine how shitty it is to be illegal, and I don't want to go through it. I don't have to. I have comfortable work here in Poland as you know, as in my own home, my own studio, and comfortable standard of living. I don't want to live like fucking rat or something. So it's actually really hard for me to it's really hard for me to even convince the law that I wouldn't be like some sort of a fugitive. So you know, that'll be. And then again, like technically, it's not impossible to get myself like actual working visa. So there is other it's orders of magnitude harder to get a working visa than like touristic visa. So there's that. And getting touristic visa is fucking hard in Poland.
Someone said.
Hold on, I grabbed a question that I don't want to fucking answer, but.
Yeah.
Cam Bucard, is that not Dan under a different alias trying to fucking... If you guys don't make your Kickstarter goal, is the game completely off, or is there any backup plans for more fundraising? If we don't reach the goal, no. Fundraising-wise, we're fucked. Like, there's no backup plan for that. I mean, we went all in. We did what we could do, you know. We spent, like, 6 months, like, making people aware of it on YouTube and doing podcasts. So, like, no. Like, we have to get real jobs again. The game will go on, but it will take way the fuck longer. And we're not going to be doing adventures in game development like we've been doing now because it's not sustainable.
No.
So.
Someone said, I want to laugh and cry in ES. Can you deliver? Absolutely.
Yes, I do too. I want you to laugh and cry simultaneously.
I'm gonna be a little bit more conservative and say it depends on how emotional you are. Because if you're a psychopath, God forbid, then it will be really hard for us to make you feel emotions.
No, if you're a psychopath, I know you very well, and I'll still be able to hit you in the emotions.
But by definition,
even a
psychopaths don't
sociopath
feel
or something for
emotions.
you in this game.
I got you.
Psychopath and sociopath are one and the same thing.
Oh, no, they're not, Broseph. No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
There is a big difference between sociopathy and psychopathy, bro.
Let me actually put my reference because those things are one and the same from the psychiatrist.
All right, well, you can Google that while we continue.
Let's see.
Someone getting sidetracked. By the way, Falco, have you seen what I've been doing all of this time? I've been redesigning completely.
I've been watching Harry Potter, sorry.
Oh yeah, I've been redesigning Julian before everybody's eyes, and nobody's been complaining.
Oh well, shit. No, I didn't see that.
Come on, it's not redesign. You just fix the animation.
Yeah, fixing animation, cleaning him up.
Yeah, and then removing the inside outlines.
And this is.
I wouldn't call it. Come on, I wouldn't call it redesign.
Looks good though. I did watch it a little bit at the beginning. It went back to like your other camera, so I didn't realize you were still working on it. Let's see, somebody asked.
Hogwarts.
Jesus, that's epic. Someone asked, who all went to university? I know Falco and Tyler did the heuristics.
I'm still in fucking school.
I'm in university. Computer science, dog.
Computer engineering here. I'm working on my master's.
Leandro, university.
Yeah, Leandro, is that it?
Yeah, I'm in architecture though.
Yeah, I'm not doing like game development at the university, so don't think that's like why we know what we know. None of us are really going to school for what we're doing at all.
Wait, Leandro.
Engineering and CS.
Hey, Broseph, real quick, you're straight up wrong. I'm reading an article on the difference between sociopathy and psychopathy.
Yeah, I was just going to say apologize. You were right, and I was wrong.
Trust me, I know my mental disorders.
Since Leandro's in school for architecture, everybody has to call him Art Vandelay from now on.
What?
Oh yeah.
Somebody said everybody thumbs up. I love all of you guys. Well.
Everyone thumb up if you love all these guys.
Oh yeah, if you love
or contribute to the Kickstarter if you love us. Yes. Why, thank you, Arthur.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Favorite indie game besides ES?
Fez for me.
Dude, you love Phil Fish way too much.
I do, man. I do. I have a fucking problem.
I loved Bastion. I really did. I loved. God, what was the name of that game? Shit, I'm blanking right now. It's embarrassing.
Describe the game. I will probably tell you what's the.
Shit, it's on Steam. Hang on.
How's the game? Because I know most of them.
It's updating. It was the black and white one with the fields.
Limbo.
Yes. I wanted to say like a P. It was not a game. I'm like, what? It's not paranormal. What the hell, Limbo?
Thank
Limbo
you,
was
Kyle.
incredible. Limbo and Bastion. I haven't had a chance to play Transistor yet. I really want to.
Yeah, it was
my
actually
favorite indie game.
Trial. Yeah.
Go
I was going to say my favorite game is indie game is Papers, Please. That's so different from any other.
Yeah, Papers, Please
game
was good. Yeah.
I've never seen.
Was actually trying to and one. Were they actually independent or did they guys have publisher? Because I don't know. I really like trying, but I'm not sure if it can be done. Also, like, yes.
I'm gonna say another indie game we've been playing has actually been Watermelon's Pier Solar. We feel a little obligated since they're giving us a hand with publishing and everything, and we've become really good friends with Julio.
Yeah, it's cool playing
we've
your
been playing
publisher's game, yeah, and like we can talk to him about like, hey, dude, we beat this boss. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Another game, like I don't really play Minecraft, and like especially when it first came out, I was like, what the fuck is the point of this game? Like I was so like critical of it, and now that I'm older, like I feel like a complete fucking douchebag. First of all, like now I'm old enough to appreciate Minecraft and what Notch did, and I truly respect him for it, and if I ever fucking make it big enough to meet that guy, like I want to buy him a beer and say like, look, I'm truly sorry. I was so ignorant that I did not appreciate your work when I was first exposed to it. Because even if I'm not really a Minecraft player, I'm now a Minecraft fan.
Yeah.
Wow.
FTL also. Last one.
Says,
FTL.
Yeah, FTL's good.
We had a ton of like plus votes on this or whatever, but it's kind of a technical question. From one I guess game developer to another, could you explain height map pixel art or point to where I can learn more about it?
Fuck.
Do we making it or?
All right, I don't know.
I think we can touch on multiple things.
Yeah.
So real quick, let's just fucking give them like a lowdown. Okay, so essentially, what bump mapping and height mapping is, it's a way for you to take a 2D texture like a sprite, and it's a way for you to give every single pixel a location in 3D space or a direction, which tells the light exactly how to reflect off of it as though it's a 3D object when it's truly flat. That's all it is. So
wait, Falco, disclaimer. I'm talking exactly about. Dude, I'm talking selling out our YouTube channel. I'm talking exactly about it in our newest video.
Okay, definitely go check that out.
Yeah, it's like it explains what it is. It explains what it is. But Falco, how do you actually like implement it? Maybe answer it. Because how do you actually implement it?
All right. Once you have this, the normal map is the texture that basically holds the 3D data corresponding to the texture maps. You have two textures basically, and then in your fragment shader, that's where you do this. It's a shader thing. Basically, you sample the normal map and you use that as an input to the lighting equations, which need to know the direction of the surface. And then they need to know the direction of the light relative to like your viewing direction and shit. And basically that's an input to the lighting equations to generate a color for that pixel relative to its position relative to the source of light. That's basically it. It's a fucking math. Have fun.
Yeah.
That's the gist. That's the gist.
As for how actually making like a height mapping pixel art, there are no references or tutorials or anything. I had to figure it myself for like past 2 weeks. If you're willing to wait, I'm going to make tutorial like within a month probably of like how to actually make it. But unless that, fuck.
Yeah, we're figuring out as we go. It's so new.
Pioneering it for pixel art.
Yes, because normally bump mapping was using 3D modeling to increase to make the illusion of like higher poly count on low poly models.
Yes.
But it was always from the start, it was generated by computer. It was never actually intended to be done by hand, and we're doing it by hand. So we're actually like, as artists, we're doing the work of like biological computer sort of, and trying to like translate our imagination like object of like this tree that's technically it's like 2D thing, but we have it in our minds of like 3-dimensional object, and we have then to translate it into algorithm of normal mapping, put it on the two-dimensional plane of the normal map, and make it run. There are no algorithms. There's nothing to help you. You have to do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
All right.
Somebody asked favorite ska band. I'm out on that question.
My favorite ska band. I went through a period in my life where I was like super fucking into ska. My favorite ska band was the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones for about 4 years. Now I'm a little bit more into Real Big Fish because they're so fucking deliciously edgy and pissed off, and it just fucking... I just love the way they mix like being pissed off with like the jangly upbeat ska fucking chords and like brass. Like that just does it for me. So I would say Real Big Fish or Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
Let's see. So I'm just reading through a couple of these. I don't know why it doesn't sort these questions by like plus votes or whatever. Like I'm trying to like go back and answer some of the ones that I guess like all the way halfway down.
Well, fucking guys, you should stop questions coming in, answer remaining questions, and wrap up the stream. It is too much. Oh fuck! All right. Well, if you want us to quit, how do we stop questions coming in?
I don't think we can stop them without removing it from the app.
Yeah, I don't really
remove all of them.
There's no way to stop them.
Not to mention, does this guy's opinion really reflect the opinion of the masses? I don't know. All right, well, fine.
Let's see.
This guy wants us off.
Wow.
How much time have we been going?
I have no idea.
No, I guess like once we're gonna start
next.
seeing like the same questions going again.
Which we haven't yet. All right, just want to let you know you are super crazy motherfuckers. What you're doing is awesome. So much love for this project. You're a huge inspiration. ES team, you're awesome. Die business-driven game dev. This guy's fucking awesome. That wasn't a question, but yes.
Totally agree.
All right, next. You guys mentioned using dynamic lighting in new ways to create atmosphere in a 2D game that not many other people have done. I think without dynamic lighting, normal specular, you can create very atmospheric 2D games. Have you played Lone Survivor? I haven't, and I do agree that, like, you know, you don't necessarily need a dynamic lighting engine to do that. I'm just saying, like, for us, that gives us, like, another avenue to do that. And I'm just saying, like, I don't think that dynamic lighting itself has been used in 2D games much to give that atmosphere. But yeah, I do agree that it can be achieved purely through pixel art, too.
It's generally something that's not really used a lot. Like normal, like lighting, dynamic lighting is not really used a lot in 2D art, simply because like up to this point, most of the 2D art was done like sort of pre-baked. It's like painted once, and like artist is painting the light source, and artist is painting the shadows. Nothing was handled dynamically by the code, and like there is, you know, we can do that, so we're doing it.
It was used to a certain extent in games with simpler graphics, maybe with just flat colors, so the dynamic light will work in there in that art style, but nothing as complex.
Yeah, after I was talking with a couple of game devs on Reddit, like they sent me a couple of examples of the actual like using OpenGL in pixel art, but none of them was quite the same what we were doing, and also there's just so little. There's like way more. It's just not relevant. It's like very small, very underground. We're literally one of, like, even if we're not the first, we're one of the first, like probably in the top 10 people who do that. So like it's that niche.
Let's see. Somebody said, I remember in some old episodes you called the map with notations to improve stuff or something like the devcock. Why? You should see some of the comments in the code.
We were 12.
I mean, even now, like, I can either go through the engine or Falco can go through the Lua scripts, and there will be notations of, like, this is fundamentally rested, you will need to revisit this later, and you will hate yourself. And then, like, I go back a couple months later, I'm like, damn. Or, like, I don't know. I mean, it's like placeholder stuff, like that question earlier about using, like, NES graphics and things like that. I mean, what are you going to do if you don't have art for something but you're trying to represent it? Right. You know, either, like, pull up paint and draw it or grab it from another game or something like that.
This dude says, guys, keep talking all night, and he has +8, which is more than the guy who told us to basically shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
so
now it's
all right, we'll go on for what, another like 15 minutes? Like, we do need to like at least set a fucking time. Yeah, like 7:15 then. Okay, all right.
This guy asked, do you regret setting the bar on the Kickstarter to 150?
No, I'll only regret it if we fucking fail to hit it. Right now, there's no regrets.
No, I mean that's the money that we need to be able to bring.
And yeah, it's fucking honest. If we don't get 150, I'm not gonna make half-ass Elysian Shadows after I put years of my life into this. 150 is the bare minimum we need to make ES the way we want to fucking make it. And if we can't make it that way, I don't want to fucking make it.
Absolutely true.
Can I request we answer the guy that's mentioning as an ES clone with a link to an article?
I actually looked up the video, and it's not dynamic lighting. It's just light overlay light on the pixel art, which is like traditional pixel art. It's nothing like what we're doing.
Yes.
Well, that's some cool shit.
Is this guy like promoting his own game? Like I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
if you're like promoting your shit, dude, it looks good.
Yeah.
All right. If you said that to pseudo promote your shit, you have my promotion.
I mean, I guess like
check out
programmatically,
Alcove Games and what these guys are doing. It's cool shit.
I guess programmatically it's cool, but you know, to be on art-wise, I'm sorry to be really harsh, but
oh, there's the shader.
art-wise, guys, it's not that great.
Diffuse, ambient, final color, V color times diffuse times ambient. That's more or less what we're doing. I don't see a specular component, but yeah. Okay, all right, continue.
Anyway,
sorry,
this person said, why do you hate common game engines like Unity 3D or GameMaker when a lot of indies have been successfully with them?
Yeah,
maybe hate is not the correct word, but like
I just fucking answered questions twice about that, and I specifically said like they're good tools, and I don't hate them.
Yeah, we already talked about it next.
Yeah,
it just doesn't fit our project, is what it is.
I don't really hate them.
Dreamcast.
It doesn't support
essentially
the Dreamcast.
because it didn't support the Dreamcast.
And I don't get to be a fucking masochistic mad scientist if I use someone else's engine, so I just don't give a fuck.
Somebody's asking how Connor's Harry Potter is coming along. I think he's playing something else now.
I'm playing Alone in the Dark 4 right now because Harry Potter glitched out there and I couldn't get to the next level.
Because you're not British.
Yeah, that must be it.
Yeah.
All right, continue with the question.
We're going down reading through.
Do you like pizza? To people who do thumb this shit up, brah. What the fuck? I like pizza, but I never fucking eat it because I'm trying to keep this feminine figure of mine.
I'll take the drugs that the guy is taking. It sounds like fun.
What the fuck does that have to do with pizza?
The soundtrack for this game got me into video game music.
Oh,
Jesus.
That's
what?
That's feelsy, Connor. That's feelsy.
Oh boy. Well then, hopefully I'm doing my job well then.
Mm-hmm.
You are. Give Git access, please. No.
Nope.
Sorry, bro. Now.
But you can go to our Kickstarter page and pledge for the beta support that'll get you in when we get to that point, as well as exclusive access to the backer forums for discussion of said beta. Just saying. What is your favorite childhood games?
Ooh.
Jesus, I don't know if we can answer all this in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Harvest Moon on Super Nintendo and Super Mario RPG. And Yoshi's Island.
Oh, yeah, Mario RPG is a good one. I'm going to say Mario RPG and Mega Man Legends right now, then Piss Break, too much coffee.
Final Fantasy Tactics, Legends of Dragoon, basically anything with a ton of classes, RTSs like Age of Empires.
Yes.
Love the shit of Age of Empires.
I would say Fallout 1, and if you want to go older, then Sonic 2 on Sega Mega Drive.
I'm going to go with Portal and Sea Dogs 2 for the PC, and
Dead Sea Dog.
Oh yeah, and then the Gothic one.
Impossible Creatures. Which is also really
no idea.
weird.
No idea.
And obviously Pokemon Monster Rancher.
Okay, next one. Let's do some more rapid firing.
Someone should contact the Sega employee and send them a link to the Kickstarter.
Yes.
We may have already done that for a couple.
Yes, extraterrestrial. Yes, extraterrestrial. So someone should. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Do it.
Is it all worth it? To me, absolutely yes. Everything that we've done to this point has been absolutely worth it, and I would not change anything.
It's kind of like asking, is living worth it? I mean, it's something that we do.
See, Trask asked, sorry if I missed this before, but didn't you say that just before Agate 27 they had some big announcement around hitting 100K? Also, any chance of getting the Agate videos on Blu-ray? We've thought about the Blu-ray thing. It may actually be cheaper for us to do like what would end up being less Blu-ray discs versus all of the DVDs that would be required. But people just need to remember, like, obviously the older Agids probably aren't going to scale up very well. They were recorded with like a really shitty webcam and stuff. I don't know. Do we want to talk about the 100K goal that we were going to announce? Is that something we want to do now, or we want to wait till tomorrow?
Wait, what? Huh? What?
Trast asked, sorry if I missed this before, but you said just before AGA 27 that you had some big announcement around hitting 100K.
Oh, we can't announce that yet until we talk to someone. That is today, probably.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
I don't know what you're talking about, Falcon.
Stay tuned.
What announcement? I thought we already announced the thing.
Oh no, it's some super
No.
secret internal
Something
business.
We'll talk to you
Okay.
offline. Yes.
Okay.
Let's see.
I think some quick fire ones.
I know, that's what I'm trying to find.
Do we use OpenGL 3.0 or 2.0?
Why aren't these questions like ordered ranked anymore by how many likes?
I have no idea. Like they were ordered.
They were ordered, and now it's just fucking out of order completely.
Because
I don't know. I'm just looking at the questions to the very top.
All right, well, fucking keep going. We have like 9 minutes.
Falco, do you have Italian ancestors? Falco says means hawk in Italian.
Really? I don't know. I know that I'm at least on one side of the family of German descent. I think I'm Irish on the other side. I don't really know. See this like German chin of mine? I don't know. I think I'm German.
Fucking master race. What's the best way to create a game dev team? Harry Biscuit asks. Be fucking exceptional.
Yes.
Jesus.
Somebody asked, why did Tyler in one of the Adventures of Game Development episodes check out Unity exactly? Wouldn't it be better to check out Blender Game Engine since it's written in C++, scripted with Python, and also open source? I don't ever recall having Unity on my screen at all, ever, for Adventures in Game Development. You may be getting that confused with like MindText or some other like normal map generation or something like that I was working with. I mean, it's Qt.
I know he's talking about
MindText.
chapter 17 with James and Jared, but I don't remember if you were actually doing anything in Unity or not.
Yeah,
I doubt it. I don't know.
Well, Falco, is the propaganda true? Does Java actually run on more than 3 billion devices?
I fucking hope not. I really, really hope not. I hope that's just bullshit, or we're fucked.
Let's see.
That's pretty much all they teach in university, so I wouldn't doubt it, actually.
Dude, I don't know what university you're going to, but hell no.
Pretty much any computer science degree that's not like MIT, probably.
Well, that's why I'm computer engineering.
Yeah,
ain't nobody got time.
Yeah, we've answered some of these questions with other questions. I'm just reading through this here. If someone feel free to grab a question.
It's not in order anymore.
The pinned one's a good one to answer.
Go for it.
Does the ES engine use OpenGL 3 or 2?
It uses OpenGL ES2.
Yes.
Somebody asked some question in Polish, I think. I don't even know.
Well,
it's like
click it. I will try to read it.
Don't even know. Do you see things when I select the questions?
Nope.
No, you need to like currently answering.
No,
when
yeah. So if you select it, just read it to us because we can't see it. It like goes.
Yeah, it has some delay, so I don't. Maybe...
Hang on, I'm gonna paste this because there's no way I could possibly pronounce this. I pasted it in Skype.
Ty możesz говорить по-русски. That's Russian in like that's like he's basically asking can I speak Russian, and it's like Russian written in Latin alphabet. I cannot speak, I can understand it because it's a Slavic language and all Slavic language is very similar, so yeah.
Jesus, okay.
If we would get bottle of vodka and we will get drunk, we will basically conversate quite well, no problem. Next
Sorry, it's not that difficult to understand.
Yeah, it's pretty much very similar, so yeah, no problem.
Okay, hold on. For Ouya fans on the team, I know you guys are hoping to partner with Ouya's Free the Games Fund, but most of your backers are high dollar. Are you worried you'll go over the 100 per backer limit? There's a fucking 100 per backer limit?
Well, we're fucking screwed.
What? I wasn't even aware of that. What the fuck? Why?
It was never mentioned.
I guess maybe it's like to counter people. Dude, I think I know, because there were like, at the start there were some controversies about like game devs intentionally feeding their own money into the Kickstarter, so they would get the, the Ouya money. So I think they implemented that, so, you need to actually have a lot of people backing your project instead of like, like 100 people, and then you yourself with like,
I mean, it's not our fault
5,000.
that we have like really high value rewards either. I mean, like the Dreamcasts or like the instructional like $5,000.
Yeah,
It's honestly like
$100 average for every person, so we can.
It's definitely average.
You know, we should probably figure out what this is all about before we start talking about it.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm not concerned about it.
Well, I'm not concerned either because most of our press stuff coming up will most likely like reach out to like the less like diehard fans who are going to be pledging for the $15 pledges. So
yeah,
I don't think that's even going to be a thing. I think it's only so high right now because most of our backers are people who like fucking grew up watching us on YouTube, who are like really emotionally invested in the project, who are pledging a lot of money. But once you know, like the Red Bull article comes in and we're on the news and shit, like it's not gonna be that high.
Dude, we sold out first tier of the custom Dreamcast, which within like first couple of hours, which was mind blowing because they're like for $1,000. It's like.
Trask asked you, Connor, can you talk to what goes into making sound effects? What type of techniques and equipment do you use?
He just fucking bangs on shit and he's like, oh, that sounds cool.
Parts of microphone, that's a dragon roll.
Pretty much, no matter what sound effect you want to do, if you just hit something and then use enough effects, or you can use like oscillators and stuff, you can end up getting what you want. It might not be quite as good as if you had like a big fancy studio and you could literally like break a barrel or something. But if you have a piece of wood and you hit it with another piece of wood and you do it at the right kind of something and use enough effects, you can kind of make whatever you want. So it's more about knowing how to use chorus, flanger, distortion, reverb, and knowing how to use EQ than it is more about just getting like an original sample. Because if you take an oscillator or any keyboard, you can pretty much do anything you want if you know enough low-level stuff about it. So that would be my answer.
Okay, Connor's honest question. Do we have some fart sounds that you oscillated or whatever and made into something?
Oh,
dude,
my God.
The Shadow soundtrack is just me in the bathroom with a microphone.
Jesus.
I had asked Connor to make like some fireball
the last
stuff, and he told me he was going to ruin a lot of good mics in the adventure. I don't know. Someone else picked the last question.
What is Connor eating?
I was eating a banana.
Sold.
That's a horrible question.
That's a nice note to finish on.
Alright, so here's the deal. If I don't die from exhaustion, there's still a shit ton of questions. We're still gonna go back on YouTube and like try to answer them and stuff, like
as many as we can.
Response, because like we still get a bunch of comments post stream from people who missed it live and they're still asking questions. So don't worry if your question was not answered here. We will still try to answer it. So with that, I think we're about ready to actually get back to work on ES and promoting it for the Kickstarter because we have a huge day ahead of us tomorrow. We're gonna be on like the fucking news and stuff.
Yep.
So thank you guys very much for hanging out with us, like all 101 of you who are still here that we didn't scare off. Please keep spreading the word. Like it's part of our next week is fucking pivotal.
It is. If you guys want to see this game actually come out and become a thing, we need your help to spread the word and spread our influence. And
right. It's all gonna come down to next week. Oh, I'm fucking dying.
Yep, I need to refill my coffee and get back to work for stuff for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Alright guys, well it's been real.
Tyler, stay tight because like I'm just finishing the normal map for the level, so I will need you to put this into...
I'm canceling the stream, get the fucking Skype and talk. Alright, see you guys. Alright, see you.
Yep, see you, gentlemen.
Everybody.
Java was created to offset Moore's law.
I think he just left the channel. He didn't take it offline. I better just